From Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, it's the Chicago Cubs taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Participating advertisers in Cubs baseball are Budweiser, the king of beers and proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team. For all you do, this Bud's for you. True Value Hardware Stores. True Value, more than just a name, it's their way of doing business. Toyota Motor Sales and your Toyota dealers. Union 76 and your neighborhood Union 76 dealers who invite you to go with the spirit of 76. Canon, so advanced, Canon is the world's leader in 35mm photography. United Airlines, people who fly for a living choose United. Zenith and your Zenith dealers who are moving television into the future. McDonald's Restaurants of Chicagoland and Northern Indiana. Together, McDonald's and you. This copyright telecast is presented by authority of the Chicago National League Ball Club, which has the right of approval of the announcers, and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Chicago National League Ball Club is prohibited.
WGN entertains you, family fun. You watch and see what's new. We're bringing it all to you. Wow! Movies, sports, WGN entertains you. WGN and you.
The goal? Build a perfect lightweight 650. Codename Suzuki Tempter. Weight and price. More like a 450 than a 650. Then build in the sensation. Result? The Suzuki GR 650 Tempter. The sensation of a 650 with a price more like a 450. The sensation of Suzuki.
So this is what the buzz is all about.
Yep, it's the year of the Cavalier. Quite a car.
We'll see.
It's got a
High compression, electronically fuel injected 2-liter engine. Front-wheel drive.
And you'll like
Cavalier's great low price. I'll take it.
Chevy Cavalier, priced lower than $82, makes now the time to buy. Cavalier start at just $58.88. See your Chicagoland Chevy dealers, the guys with the blue bow tie.
Now, you can step up to Suitery quality at irresistible prices. Because right now, the Suitery's revolutionary markdown policy has created thousands of super markdowns. Like quality vested suits, super markdown price $99. Fine wool blend suits, super markdown price $129. Superb sport coats, super markdown price $69.
The Suitery, where your taste level is more affordable than ever. For the Suitery nearest you, dial SUITERY. Suitery.
Hello again, everybody. This is Harry Carey with Steve Stone. We're at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, the scene of today's doubleheader between the Cubs and the Pirates. And in the first game, it's Candelaria, the Candy Man, going for the Pirates, and Steve Trout, Rainbow, going for the Cubs.
Well, Candelaria is 12-4 lifetime against the Cubs, Harry, and he's going to be a tough pitcher to face. He's had one very good ball game, pitched a great game against St. Louis, got knocked around the second time. The Cubs are going to have their hands full today.
It's a cold day, but fortunately there will be baseball. I say fortunately because you like to play as many games as possible on the regular schedule to avoid the doubling up that would be necessary otherwise. And with pitching being the name of the game and all clubs suffering from lack of it, apparently, why you don't want to play any more doubleheaders than necessary.
Well, we talked to Ed Vargo before the game, and he's the crew chief of this umpiring crew, and he said that if they start the first game, he's going to play 2 today. So it's going to be Craig Lefferts, the rookie pitcher, making his first major league start in the second game. It should be interesting to watch he and Steve Lake.
All right, we're ready to play baseball now. Here are the lineups for you. For the Chicago Cubs, Sandberg will lead it off at second base. As you watch, Steve Trout getting ready in the bullpen. Sandberg at second, Boa at short, Buckner at first, Say at third, Durham in center, Moreland in right, Nordhagen in left, Davis the catcher, Trout the pitcher. For the Pirates, Lacey in right, Mazzilli in center, Madlock at third, Thompson at first, Pena the catcher, Harper in left, Berra the shortstop, Ray at second, and John the Candyman Candelaria is the pitcher. Sandberg steps into the batter's box. We're ready to play baseball. I hope you'll enjoy the Sunday afternoon with us. First pitch. Fastball. Fouled off to the right. On a he didn't mean to swing sort of deal. Sandberg hitting only 179. Swung and he missed. Now Candelaria can be very, very good, and then he can have his problems, as he's proven in his 2 starts this year. High drive, right field. Lacey has room. 1 out. Sandberg flies out. Ryan has a better start than he did a year ago. But he has only 1 RBI and hitting 179. So here is Larry Boa. There's a line drive base hit. Boa, a much more formidable hitter, right-handed seemingly, than he is left-handed.
Harry, he looks much more comfortable in the batter's box and hits the ball with a lot more authority. He lined a drive to left field yesterday the first time at bat. Just looks like he knows what he's doing up there right-handed.
All right, here is Bill Buckner. Boa at first, 1 out. Cubs would like to get Trout out in front. There's a sidearm fastball. Good strike. Candelaria, in his first start this year, had a 4-hitter against the Cardinals, striking out 10. In his second start, in 2 1/3 innings, he allowed 8 hits and 6 runs. So when he is good, he is very, very good, and when he is bad, he is horrid, as the old nursery rhyme would read. Willie Stargell in the booth next door watching the game. He'll be Vince Lloyd's guest between games. Popped it up. Didn't have a very good swing at all. Easy out to Lacey. So Buckner flies out. And here is Ron Cey, and he is getting to the point where you say he's overdue. He's 8 out of 33 for the year. No homers and 1 RBI. What a good spot here for the long ball. Curveball low and inside. Make that he's 6 out of 33 for a 182 percentage. 1 run batted in. looking for his first home run as a member of the Cubs. Fastball inside. Candelaria, big, tall, strong left-hander, stands 6'7", weighs 230, 29 years old. 112, lost 7 last year with a fine earned run average of 2.94. He's been bothered with arm problems. Ball 3 is low. Durham waiting on deck. Stello, the umpire behind the plate. Davidson at first, West at second, Vargo at third. There's a drive. Might be out of here. Near the wall. Caught beautifully. What a beautiful play by Brian Harper. Say hit the ball on the nose, but it was a sinking line drive. Watch the replay. No runs, 1 hit. No errors. Boy, what a play by Harper. 1 left. We go to the bottom of the first, no score.
This buzz for everyone who knows they've got what it takes to get the job.
This buzz for you, for all you do. The king of beer is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
Hey, this Bud's for you.
Making Mother's Day special calls for the best of ingredients, including lots of love and a gift from True Value hardware stores. She'll enjoy using the True Hue makeup mirror with adjustable light, or the quick-drying Northern 1250-watt Pro Pistol. For her listening pleasure, give Mom this AM/FM personal stereo, or the General Electric FM/AM digital clock radio from participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Right now could be the best time to make your best deal on an '83 Toyota truck. Your Toyota dealer's got 14 tough models. Every one is the same price as the '82s, except diesel, its price went down. The Toyota Standard truck, the lowest priced Toyota truck, has the same powerful gas engine, 3 across seating, same big payload as Toyota's other 2 buys. Don't let your Toyota truck get away. Make your deal now. Your Toyota dealers got it right.
Harry Carey and Steve Stone were at Three Rivers Stadium. Here's Lee Lacy, the leadoff man. Lacy was 0 for 4 yesterday as the Cubs won the game 6-5. You know, in all fairness to Ron Cey, he's 6 out of 34, and I'll bet he has hit at least 5 balls just like that last one, where ordinarily he would have a little more loft to it. But maybe it's the cold air or what. Line drive just sinks, and rather than go to the wall, the outfielder's been making good plays on him. Here's a smash right back at Trout. He's got it. Throws to first for the out. He knocked it down, picked it up, and threw him out. 1 away. Here's Lee Mazzilli. Mazzilli 2 out of 4 yesterday. Mazzilli batting .296 for the year. 2 homers, 5 RBIs.
We're going to take a look today at Lee Mazzilli from the right side of the plate, of course, off Steve Trout. He looked pretty good yesterday from the left side, got a key base hit that put the Pirates ahead, and he's found a home here in Pittsburgh. He likes center field, and he likes Chuck Tanner.
Lee Mazzilli, the pitch. Fastball a little bit low. 1 ball, no strikes. 1 away. There's a strike call to even the count. Lee Mazzilli with 1 gone here in the first inning. Steve Trout trying for his 2nd victory in a row for the Cubs. A little low, ball 2. There you see Chuck Tanner, a ray of sunshine, a very happy disposition guy. And he's always been able to handle problem ball players. There's a pitch swung, fouled, out of play. He's one of the few guys that could really handle Richie Allen. Of course, perhaps he leaned over so far backwards in deference to making special treatment of Allen. It might have caused a few problems with other people, but he's always done a good job of handling ball players, Tanner has, that other managers have had trouble with. Whitey Herzog of the Cardinals is the same way.
Well, Chuck was able to handle Dick Allen. One of the reasons why, Harry, was that he didn't see him a great deal, so they were able to get along very well.
He let him do whatever Richie wanted to do. One out, nobody on. Mazzilli waiting, 2-2 pitch. Again, he fouled it back. Mazzilli has a good stroke up there. Lee Udia was saying that he has more pop in his bat left-handed than right-handed, but a handsome kid who... There's a drive, right field, opposite field, Moreland there. 2 up, 2 down. Moreland not only has been carrying the Cubs, having hit a home run in each of the 2 games they won, and carrying them with his bat, but he has done everything that you can want your right fielder to do. He has played an exceptionally good defensive right field. Here's Bill Buckner coming in wanting to talk to Steve Trout as Madlock comes up.
One of the reasons why I believe Moreland is playing a better outfield is that there was no experimentation at catching this year. They said right field is yours and just go get him and get yourself comfortable.
Here's the pitch on the way. Bouncing ball. Oh, Say backs up a tough play. The long throw. Say. Boy, Ron really played that ball poorly. A big high hop, and it must have surprised him because he didn't move at all and finally retreated.
This is the problem with the AstroTurf field. Sometimes you get a dirt bounce, and watch the bounce off the dirt. It just eats Ron Say up right off the bare hand. And Madlock still's got surprising speed, is able to beat this throw.
So instead of having an easy 1-2-3 inning, here's Jason Thompson, who can take you downtown. An error charged to Say. 2 out, a runner on at first base. Good bullet fastball. Strike call. Jason Thompson is facing no stranger. He batted against Trout in the American League. Thompson being with the Tigers. A ball and a strike. Jason Thompson 0 for 4 yesterday. Hey, they got him. No, close. Almost had him. Buckner thought he had him, and he just see the sort of disgusted flip of his hand.
Well, he fooled Bill Madlock on that move. Madlock was moving toward second base as Trout came to first, but only his quickness enabled him to get back.
Now the pitch. Just missed outside. Well, we got a beautiful monitor here in the booth. I hope the picture you're seeing is as pretty as this one is. The delivery. He went around, and the count is evened up 2-2. He tried to check. Trout throwing nothing but hard stuff. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Madlock. Struck him out swinging. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. At the end of 1, no score.
McDonald's and you. Here's some morning news. It's time for change at McDonald's with 2 new meals for under $1. Now get fresh scrambled eggs with a toasted English muffin for just 79 cents.
Good meal.
Or 3 golden hotcakes with butter and syrup for just 69 cents.
Good deal.
2 new meals, 2 great deals. For breakfast. It's time for change at McDonald's. McDonald's and you.
This week, save on sliced ham at Dominic's. Wilson or Agar boiled ham sliced to your specifications is only 79 cents a half pound at Dominic's.
This Bud's for everyone who takes on the heavy loads.
This Bud's for you. For all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just just for you that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do, for you.
If you don't like the idea of paying big repair bills on your car, try being a farmer. A major engine overhaul on this little number could cost you $4,000 or $5,000. So farmers look after things right, like changing the oil and putting in a new Fram oil filter when they're supposed to. Even a big Fram filter like this doesn't cost much. Repairing this does. Believe me, farmers know the value of a dollar, and they'd rather pay a little now than a lot later.
Harry Caray back in Pittsburgh. Leon Durham, the hitter, with a count of a ball and a strike. No score in the second inning. Oh, boy, Candelaria threw that ball by him. And Durham tried to check his swing.
Candelaria is throwing the ball very hard. He's got a lifetime 96 and 62 record, so you know he's no stranger to winning, and last year he was 6th in the league in earned run average.
The big left-hander fires. Boy, he wheeled from the side that time, and he missed. He has great velocity today. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A cold day in Pittsburgh. He struck him out swinging. We asked Keith Moreland as he walks up to the plate what he looks for facing Candelaria. Here's what he said.
Well, anytime you face Candyman, you're going to see a lot of fastballs. He's a fastball pitcher. He's a slinger, sort of. He throws 3/4. The ball really tails away from a right-hander into a left-hander, and he has an off-speed curveball that he's really come effective with in the last couple of years, and that's the reason he's come back and become a quality pitcher again.
Here he throws him a curveball that catches the outside corner. 1 strike and nothing. Keith Moreland, who had a 2-run homer yesterday. A 3-run homer in the other Cub victory in Montreal. Fouls a pitch back, and he's in the hole, strike 2. 2 strikes and nothing. Tony Garofalo, the fine trainer of the Chicago Cubs. He struck him out, a curveball. So he is fanned. 2 men in a row here. Tony's dad is celebrating his 62nd birthday down in St. Louis. And he can get the game on WGN Superstation 9. And for his son, Tony Jr., we certainly want to wish Mr. Garofalo the happiest of birthdays. Nordhagen, the batter, and we asked him if he'd ever faced the Candyman before.
Yeah, I faced him when I was with the White Sox in spring training a number of years, and in AAA, I believe, 1 year.
He fouls off the second pitch, and he, too, is in the hole. The Candyman must want to get into the warm shelter of the dugout as summarily as he's dispatching the Cubs here in this inning. 2 strikes and nothing. That was a slider high. Just barely missed, and the count is even. Well, we want to welcome all the people in Rockford and Champaign and Peoria, Mount Vernon, Angola, Indiana, where individual TV stations are carrying the game. Foul tipped. He's still alive. In Peoria, I guess the gang is at Rocky Van Aken. Watching the ball game right off the campus of Bradley University. 2-2 pitch. A little looping fly ball will be caught to retire the side. Boy, oh boy, we're going to need a well-pitched game the way the Candyman looks. 1, 2, 3, nothing across. We go into the bottom of the second, no score.
Time for a tune-up.
Tune-up?
Want to make sure we aren't burning up money by checking points, plugs, oil. Insurance? Insurance.
Insurance?
Allstate update. Auto insurance tune-up.
Allstate can help you make sure you're getting your money's worth. Just drop off your policy at Sears or any Allstate office. We'll check it out. Coverage limits, price, deductibles. Then you decide.
You might drive out with a better value.
Now that's a tune-up.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Come on, Dad. I didn't need college to know gas is gas.
Not true, son. Gasolines are they're kind of like people. Take Nick there. He's very special. A unique blend of qualities gives him a spirit nobody else has. And 76 gasolines are blended to give them spirit.
Thanks, Dad.
I'll get it.
Hey, Nick, I just learned how spirited our gasoline is.
Yeah, kind of like people. Well, take Murph there. He's very special.
Fill her up with spirit.
Like 76 gasolines, they're blended to give them spirit.
The spirit of 76.
Introducing the new front-wheel drive Toyota Camry. It does not have a fireplace, but it does have living room, elbow room, headroom, tow room, family room. For families who are a size above average, for families who like to spread out. There's lots of feet for your feet, lots of living room for anyone, and a tough new engine with quick pickup and great mileage. The new Toyota Camry, not just the family car, the family Camry.
Oh, what a feeling, Camry.
I do things the hard way. I fly to Chicago's O'Hare Airport. I seem to wait for everything.
I do things the midway. I wait for nothing.
With Steve Stone, Harry Carey in Pittsburgh, there's Lee Edia in the Cub dugout. There's Scotty Thompson in the front of the picture. Ground ball, hit it for center. Larry Bowa can't come up with it. Off his glove. It'll be a hit for Pena. Oh, went after that ball rather strangely. It looked like he dived for the ball a little bit too soon. It's Willie Stargell next to our television camera. Somebody practicing some play-by-play there. There is Brian Harper. Mrs. Tanner, you just can't get a good... There she is on the... There, right there, you can see her with the... Next to the gentleman there. That's her in-laws with her. Throw over to first and runner back.
Willie Stargell is working for the cable station here and doing about 60 ball games and just getting his feet wet in television. He says he can be a 400 hitter finally up here in the booth.
There's a pitch fouled out of play by Brian Harper. Harper's had one hit this year and 2 tries, and then one hit was a 2-run homer.
Well, Harry, he had a great year in 1981 at Salt Lake City. He was property of the California Angels, came over in the Tim Foley deal, hit .350 with 28 home runs that year.
They're very high on him. Fastball a little bit low. 2 balls and a strike. There's Dave Parker. Dave's got a hamstring sidelining him. 2 balls and a strike. The delivery instead over to first base and runner back. Bill Buckner. Pena for a catcher runs pretty good. Brian Harper, the batter. The count evens now on that foul ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Friday afternoon, the Cubs will be at Wrigley Field. Boy, it's been a long road trip. We'll play the 3 West Coast teams, all coming in for 3-game series. About 40 degrees here. We had snow flurries this morning. Boy, he fooled him with a change, but he fouled it off. Brian Harper was way out in front.
Well, this is seat cushion day today. The first 15,000 fans get a seat cushion. It'll probably take them till May to give them out because there's not 15,000 here today.
Closer to 8, I would imagine. Throw over to first and runner back. But having been rained out of the game, or cold weathered out, Friday necessitating the doubleheader here today, they wanted to play if at all possible. There goes a runner. Swung and struck out the peg. Double play on the strikeout. Pena is cut down from Jody Davis to Ryan Sandberg.
Well, Joe West is going to make this call, but I'll tell you what, I think we got a break right here because I believe that Pena slid under the tag. Watch it again right here.
I don't know. Well, he was right on top of the play. If he blew that one, he would have to take an eye test. Here's a pitch low. 1 ball, no strike, so I have to feel that he called it properly. Dale Berra, the hitter. And Trout has fallen behind him now. 2 balls, no strikes. Ball 3. Vince Lloyd will have Willie Stargell as the guest between games. Strike call. 3 balls and a strike. 2 men are out, nobody on. Nothing. 2 fine left-handers dueling it out. Broken bat, base hit in the right center field. Whoa, now Durham kicks the ball. Holy cow. And Berra winds up at second base. He breaks his bat. Look at, they're recovering the broken piece of the bat. Now watch the broken sliver. See it? Coming right at you.
Leon right here just relaxes a little bit, takes it for granted it's a single, and the ball hits the heel of his glove, and Berra's on his way to second.
So now they have a man in scoring position, and here's Johnny Ray, a tough hitter. Second error for the Cubs today. The Pirates have yet to make an error this season. They're playing their 9th game and haven't erred once. Ball 2 low.
With the pitcher coming up next, I believe Steve Trout's going to be very careful how he throws to Johnny Ray. You really don't mind giving up a base on balls right here.
Candelaria is a good hitting pitcher, too. 2 balls, no strikes. 1 ground ball ought to be out of the inning. Sandberg over to first to retire the side. No runs, 2 hits. 1 error, 1 left. At the end of 2, no score. When you're looking for quality products at extra special prices, look no further than True Value Hardware Store's Tool Value of the Month. During April, it's this Servest dirt shovel, just $4.99. It has a contoured steel blade for easy digging and a fire-hardened handle for better leverage. Get the Servest dirt shovel for just $4.99 while supplies last during April. Look for the banner at participating True Value Hardware Stores and home centers.
Who's got steaming egg McMuffin in the morning?
McDonald's and you.
And golden hash brown.
McDonald's and you. Fresh scrambled eggs, sausage, hot cakes, juice and coffee too. Who's got sparkling stuff? Stay a while or drive on through. Who's got breakfast served hot, fast, and friendly for you? Who's got sunshine every morning? McDonald's and you.
Wherever you find pros in action, you'll find the Canon AE1 program in action. The AE1 program, so advanced in the hands of a pro photographer, it captures the winning shots. And so simple, it helps anyone shoot like a pro. The Canon AE1 program, so advanced it's simple.
Canon, the official 35mm camera of the 1984 Olympic Games.
Harry Caray and Steve Stone were back in Pittsburgh where it's about 40 degrees. It is cold, and we had snow flurries. Here's the pitch. There's a smash fair ball for Jody Davis. That's going to be extra bases. He's going to go for at least 2. And he'll pull up at second base with a double. Davis doubled over first base.
Well, this is how the right-handers are going to have to hit Candelaria today, because he's throwing the ball very hard, just inside the first base line. And the left-handers have some trouble today, Harry. I hope our right-handers can get to the Candyman.
The Candyman, I've never seen him throw any harder. Here's Trout now. Let's see if he can push him along. Tried to sacrifice, bunted foul. Well, you being a restaurant man, Steve, I was surprised. You know, the Levy people who have so many restaurants in Chicago have Hillary's here in Pittsburgh that just opened up, which is exactly like the one they have at the Water Tower. Here's the pitch. He bunts in the air, and it's a foul, strike 2. So they are spreading their operation in the same kind of a new building as they have in the Water Tower there.
Well, we hear a lot about the depressed economy here in Pittsburgh, Harry, but they're doing a whole lot of building.
Boy, I don't know. Curve outside. That's what I've been talking to people about. How can there be so much depression, as you read about here, all the unemployed, when every corner you see a new building going up? I think what's happening is that the pitch, strike 3 call. Steve caught on strike. Strikeout number 3. Here's Sandberg. I think what's happened is that the steel mills are the ones that are really suffering, and so many of the people here work for the steel mills, but apparently other businesses must be doing well.
Either that or one rich man is building a whole lot of buildings.
There is a family named Mellon around here, you know. Oh, one of these days, these buildings will be going up in Scottsdale, and they'll say, that's Steve Stone's building another one.
You're going to have to retire first, Harry.
Here's a pitch, and it's a little bit low and inside. 1 ball, no strikes. We're in the 3rd. No score. Popped it up. Right fielder Lacey's there. Easy out. Sandberg, who was 1 for 5 yesterday. Flies out to short right. Here's Boa now. He's single to right his first time at bat.
This Pirate team is playing pretty good baseball thus far this year, but they really miss Dave Parker in the middle of their lineup. He gives them a lot of power, and it looks to be out about 3 or 4 more days from that pulled leg muscle.
Here's the pitch to Boa. Curve in there, a beauty, a strike call. The outfield playing very shallow. The Candyman is ready. There you see the defense. Wide fastball. Boa hitting .212. He had 1 out of 5 yesterday. Single his first time up today. There's a little pop fly. That's going to be trouble, but Bear on the run makes the catch. Can you imagine a little pop fly over the pitcher's head, and it almost dropped in there. Easy out, as it turns out. No runs. 1 hit. No errors. We sure abused that ball that inning. 1 left. That'll give you an idea how tough this Candelaria is throwing out there. We go into the bottom of the 3rd, 0-0.
From the dusty deserts of Baja, through the sound barrier, the Budweiser racing teams always play to win.
Harry Carey and Steve Stone. You know, as I told, now look at him, see? When the game is on, he really wears an overcoat. He gives you this big macho stuff before the game, takes the coat off. I work without a coat, though. I only put my top coat on when we go on camera.
But our habits at night are different, Harry. You feel the cold a little different than I do.
I know, thank goodness, too. Well, this turned out to be a better day, though, than anybody thought. It was snowing this morning. We'll be back at the friendly confines Friday against the San Francisco Giants. Oh, it'll be good to get back to Wrigley Field for an extended period. We'll be there 10 days, 9 games. Candelaria, good hitting pitcher up there. Bouncing ball, Buckner backs up. And he's going to be safe. Boy, oh boy, we are playing terrible. Just a routine high-hop ground ball. What's going on?
Well, this ball just eats up Bill Buckner, and it's our 12th error, I believe, this year, Harry. And against a pitcher who's throwing as well as Candelaria, you cannot keep giving him offensive chances. This digs Steve Trout into a little bit of a hole.
3 errors in 3 innings. And that is the 12th error of the year for the Cubs. And these are all easy chances. Here's a pitch now to the leadoff man, Lacy. Well, maybe that's a trick to get Candelaria on base, keep him out in the cold, or he'll get stiff and won't be able to pitch very well. Did he go around? No. They're appealing.
They're appealing, but Satch Davidson is frozen down there. He hasn't made a move.
2 balls, no strikes. Lacy, a tough hitter. Pass, Boa. Base hit. Oh, he didn't. He doesn't. That ball was a half a step to his left. Now watch this. Runners at first and second, nobody out. When the ball left the bat, I thought it was going to be a double play.
Center fielder.
But it got through. On this carpet, hard to adjust. Well, the ball is hit sharply. Now, a wild pitch. The ball gets away from Jody Davis. He must have been. Now, Trout is claiming that the ball was foul tip. There's going to be an argument on it.
Let's watch it again and see if it hits the bat. Oh, it's clearly away from the bat.
Well, what are they arguing about?
It looks like Jody Davis has just crossed up on this ball because he's ducking his head right there, Harry.
What are they going to call it? A wild pitch or a pass ball? I imagine to be a pass ball. Here's Mazzilli with runners at second and third. A high fly ball, right field. Now watch the play at the plate. Here's the catch. Here's the throw. They got a chance. Save. Candelaria score. Unfortunately, Moreland's throw wasn't as good as he normally makes it.
Keith Moreland has a very good arm in right field, and Candelaria doesn't have very good wheels at third base, but the throw was up the line right here. We've got a chance at him, and you watch Moreland plant the foot, try to get off a real good throw. Unfortunately, Candelaria going all the way, slides around the diving Jody Davis.
Boy, you talk about giving him 2 runs. Here's Madlock now, infield in. Bouncing ball. Say will hold the runner at third. Throws to first for the out. Madlock bounces to Say. 2 men are gone, and here is Jason Thompson. 1-0 in favor of the Pirates. Candelaria safe on an error by Buckner. Advancing to third on a pass ball by Jody Davis. Trout has deserved a better fate. 1-0 Pittsburgh. Ooh, he had a good cut. One strike. 2 men out. Ooh, almost thrown away. That evens the count, a ball and a strike. Jody Davis must have been crossed up on the pitch. They got away from him. Slider outside. Trout is very quick. 3 errors have made him pitch. 1 extra inning already. Ball 3 inside and low. Tony Pena, the catcher, will be next. Well, I was amazed at the gamble of Joe Launette with the slow-footed Candelaria, and the ball was just a short fly ball. Ball 4, he walked it. First walk given up by Trout.
Well, Chuck Tanner has an offensive philosophy on his ball club, and that is put the pressure on the opposing team. Make them execute. And even with John Candelaria at third base, obviously his philosophy has rubbed off on Joe Launette because he didn't hesitate. He sent Candy all the way in.
And I'll bet you 19 out of 20 times Moreland would have thrown him out by 10 feet. But this time he didn't, and that's what you gamble on when you play daring baseball. Well, I'd give him credit for it. Pena, tough hitter. Single his first time up. There's a strike call. This cold air cannot help a veteran like Larry Bowa. He must. There's a ground ball right to Buckner. Steps on the bag for the out. So it is 1 run unearned. 1 hit. 1 error and 1 left. This is Harry Caray going over to the radio now. Milo will be joining Steve here in a moment. The score at the end of 3, the Pirates 1, the Cubs nothing.
Hello again, everybody. Milo Hamilton with Steve Stone. And how are you keeping warm, man?
Woo! Well, it looks like it's just about to snow. You know, they canceled the game Friday night because they said it was very cold out here, and Candelaria had hurt his arm on a similar night. It's not doing him any good out here today because it's no warmer this afternoon than it was on Friday night.
And that wind keeps blowing, too, at over 20 miles an hour. Here's Buckner. Foul, look out, maybe. Hey, we got one in the booth.
Right into the booth.
That's the way. Don't bring a glove with you, then you won't have to be charged with an error.
Well, the gentleman working the camera's got a sore hand because he tried to catch that one and went right through it.
Not through the camera, through his hand. Buckner in the first inning flied to right. Candelaria's quick. 4 fly balls to right field off of him. Getting around late. Strike called. 0-2 to Buckner. The Cubs have not played much defense here today. Some balls have been played badly on the corners. Bowa took a dive at a couple of balls. They've been charged with 3 errors. Swing and a miss. Boy, I tell you, Candelaria just simply reached back for something extra. That looked like the way Candy threw when he came up.
Well, he's throwing exceptionally hard, and right there, that was an excuse-me swing. Bill Buckner was just overmatched. He probably swung at a bad pitch, but I don't know, because he didn't get a good look at it.
4 strikeouts for Candelaria. This is Ron Cey, looks at a ball in the first inning. Harper really stayed with a hard hit line drive that Cey hit. Went right back into the wall to get it. Cey is 0 for 4 in this series as he bats in the 4th inning. Candelaria and the Pirates lead 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes to the Penguin. Leon Durham due up next. Candelaria's strikeout victims have been Durham, Moreland, Trout, and Buckner. He hasn't walked anybody, given up 2 hits. Pop foul, out of play, over to the right. Pena will come over, but Tanner's out of that dugout to make sure he doesn't run on in there. And it's 2 balls and a strike. The run up on that board is a gift. So you got to battle back, get that one back, and get one or two of your own. And Candelaria and Trout both throwing very well here in the early going. The 2-1. 3 balls and a strike. I think Candelaria is throwing harder here today than I've seen him throw in a couple of years.
Well, he's certainly healed from that 1981 injury because his arm looks sound. He's throwing with a lot of ease today.
A high drive to left center. It'll be caught by Mazzilli on the warning track. Cey has put some wood on the ball both times up.
Ron Cey is still hitting the ball pretty well and still hitting the ball in tough luck. When he hits them hard, they don't seem to fall in. He hit the ball a sinking line drive to left. He hit that high fly ball, but he hit it to the big part of the ballpark. And either way, he's 0 for 2.
Here is Durham, struck out swinging in the second inning. Oh, I tell you, when Candelaria drops down with that big long arm of his, left-hand batters have got to be thinking, is that ball going to be coming in? There's no way you can erase that from your mind. Swing and a miss, and it's a ball and a strike. Nobody on and 2 away.
This is usually when left-hand hitters decide that there's something wrong with that front leg. It's bothering them a little bit, and they usually ask either for a day off or have a hard time keeping it in the batter's box.
1-1. That hit his bat as he fell back away from it. Fouled down the third base side, and it's 1-2. The Cubs' biggest chance in this game was in the third when Jody Davis hit a double inside the first base bag down into the right field corner, but nobody moved him. Trout wasn't able to bunt him over. Then when he struck out, Sandberg flied to right, and Boa popped to the shortstop. And the 1-2. Strike 3. Side-armed him and got him. 5 strikeouts, 2 in the inning, 3 up and 3 down for the Candyman. Middle of the 4th. Pirates 1, Cubs nothing. This portion of Chicago Cubs baseball brought to you by these participating advertisers. The Bell System Yellow Pages. It's the small investment that keeps your big investments paying off. The Pepsi-Cola Bottling Company of Chicago. And Allstate. They insure your home, your car, your health, your business, and your life. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Born of tradition, nurtured by pride. Budweiser Light, with a clean, distinctive taste. A light beer worthy of the king of beers.
Bring out your best. Bring out your best.
The best never comes easy.
Budweiser Light.
That's why there's nothing else like it.
Budweiser Light.
For everyone in business who has to send or receive packages quickly, now there are 3 things you don't have to do. You don't have to overpay. Now there's an air service that can save you as much as 50%. You don't have to waste time on the phone. This service has automatic daily pickup. And you don't have to worry, because you can depend on UPS Next Day Air. Don't overpay, don't waste time, and don't worry. UPS Next Day Air saves you money from the ground up.
Brian Harper leads it off in the inning, and Trout's pitch gets away from Jody Davis. Harper in the second inning struck out on the front end of a double play. 1 of 2 strikeouts for Trout. He has walked 1. A let up, and that was a good one.
Good changeup by Steve Trout. That shows he's maturing as a pitcher, getting that ball over the plate, keeping the hitter off balance, and even if it wasn't a strike, it gives Brian Harper a little bit more to think about than just that fastball and slider.
Well, it leads you to believe that was one of the things they talk about on Harper, because the 2 changes he's thrown today have both been to this batter. 2 balls and a strike. Berra due up next, then it'll be Johnny Ray. Trout trailing 1-0. The 2-1. That'll make it 3-1. Steve Trout pitching in the 4th inning. They scored a run in the 3rd. 3 balls and a strike. A drive to left center. Ball well hit. Ball's going to be gone. Brian Harper loads up on one and drives it to left center and out of here, and it's 2-0. Take another look.
Well, this is a 3-1 pitch. You don't want to make too many of these in the course of a ball game, because every now and then this is what happens. A long drive to left center field. We know Harper's got a lot of power. He showed it to us there.
It's his second home run of the year, and it's 2-0. Berra, looping liner, going to drop in right field. So Berra has his second straight hit and his fourth hit in the series.
You know, Milo, errors, even though you don't score on them directly, have a telling influence on a ball game. They put a pitcher in a hole. He's got to reach into his reserve a couple of times, as Steve Trout had to do the first 3 innings of a ball game. He had to reach back, get a little bit extra where he probably wouldn't have had the errors not been made, and they might be telling now and certainly later in the ball game.
He might have thrown maybe a dozen to 15 extra pitches already. A strike is called to Johnny Ray. He was out on a bouncer to second in the second. 0 for 1 today, 2 for 5 in the series. A home run followed by a single. Berra's at first with nobody out. A ball and a strike. A home run ball by Harper opening the inning. Pirates 2, Cubs nothing. First game of a doubleheader, and snowflakes have appeared at Three Rivers. Throw to first, may have him picked off. Now Buckner will run him toward Boa. Now he runs by him. He's got to turn around to Davis. Now you got to fire down to Boa. And I'm going to tell you something. That play turned into a difficult play because Jody Davis is not used to making that throw, and lucky he didn't hit the runner in the back.
Well, we're going to take a look at the front end of what turned into a short Marx Brothers flick. They've got Boa, they've got Berra hung up right here. Somehow he gets by Bill Buckner. You'll see him fake Buckner. Now we'll go back the other way. Alert Jody Davis is backing up and makes a bullet throw right here to Larry Boa. Finally, we got him out.
So it's a caught stealing 1-3-2-6. And the count on Ray is 1-1. And the snowflakes are more prominent here. Missed with a fastball away, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Well, you got to give Davis a lot of credit for being alert and being down there. Buckner would have been embarrassed if he'd have looked around and had no target. A bouncer to Say. Over to Buckner, and it's 2 down. Third to first takes care of Ray. Now it'll bring up Candelaria, who reached on an error on Buckner in the 3rd inning. A couple of AstroTurf bounces played third baseman Say in the 1st inning on Madlock's ball, and then Buckner did the same thing on Candelaria's ball. Candelaria batting right-handed these days. You folks are seeing him do that for the first time. He's just a good athlete, that's all. He was a heck of a basketball player. One ball, 1 strike, 2 away, a run in on a home run to start the inning by left fielder Brian Harper. Fouled off. He takes his cuts up there.
Looks like he's getting a good look at Steve Trout's pitches. Milo, the last time I was in the park was 1979 during the World Series. It looked just like today and felt very similar.
Boy, it was similar weather. Remember the start of that World Series, the bad weather that you had in Baltimore, and the commissioner walked around in that rain, finally called it? 2-2. That was the series that Willie Stargell took charge. A bouncer through the right side, and Candelaria's on with a hit. Hit number 6. He hit a 2-2 pitch through the right side of the infield.
Milo, we had 7 inches of snow the opening day of that 1979 World Series, and I got up late and I thought that I had slept through the series because it looked like December to me.
And after you guys got out in front and ended up losing it, you said, maybe I should have slept through this thing.
I was in a restaurant here in town, and the waitress was giving me some problems, and I signed it after we were up 3-1. 1979 World Champion Baltimore Orioles, Steve Stone. We never won that 4th game.
I wonder where that check is. That'd be a collector's item. Fouled off by Lacey, who is 1 for 2. No balls and a strike. Lacy in the first hit a comebacker to Trout and was thrown out. Third inning, had a base hit. Boy, that was tight in on the hands. Tied him up and he backed off from it, took it for a ball, and it's 1-1. Lee Lacy batting with Candelaria at first. I see the plan now. Get Candelaria on the bases every time. Wear him out. Strike and a high fastball. 2-1.
Well, Candelaria is not wearing a jacket down there at first base, something I can't understand. He's had some arm problems, and yet he doesn't want to take a chance on warming it up any.
A shot back through the middle. Trout's lucky he didn't get hurt by that ball. That ball was hit like a bullet right back through the middle. Hit number 4 in the inning. Hit number 7 for the Pirates. Look at this ball take off.
In the last 2 ball games Steve Trout has pitched, he's had 4 balls hit right back at him. That one looked like it got a little bit of a piece of him on that left side. At any rate, it goes out into center field, and he probably thinks they're taking target practice.
Oh, that's the time when that 60 feet 6 inches gets awful short. Here is Mazzilli, drove in a run in the 3rd inning with a sacrifice fly. That got Candelaria home, made it 1-0. Harper's homer in this inning made it 2-0. And here is Mazzilli with 2 teammates aboard and 2 away. A run in on the Harper homer. A broken bat smash out behind second. Long throw will never get him. Sandberg had no chance. Mazzilli runs very well. Once that ball had some sting taken out of it with a broken bat. And if you ask Trout, I'll bet you he'll tell you he made a good pitch on him because he threw it right on the bat handle.
Well, here's the strength of Lee Mazzilli because he's able to get a ball right above his fist, out almost into center field. No chance to get Mazzilli, and I'll tell you one thing, we're pretty lucky in this inning because there's been 5 base hits and only 1 run.
And that had to go out of the park in order for them to score. Here is Madlock, a tough hitter with men on, and the bases are loaded. Lines it foul down the right side. Madlock, second time today he's gone after the first pitch. Let's pause here quickly for station identification.
This is WGN Television, Chicago, America's #1 sports station.
Bases are loaded for Madlock. 2 away. Trout's in a full-blown mess. As Steve pointed out, 5 hits in the inning. Boy, that caught stealing on Vera was a big play if he can get out of this. A tailing fastball just did slide off the corner. Trout wanted the call. He's not saying anything, but you can read him. A ball and a strike to Mad Dog, Bill Madlock. A smash up the middle, a base hit. Candelaria scores. Lacy's going to score. Throw to third. It's going to be out at third, but the 2 runs count. Candelaria scored run number 3. Lacy scored run number 4. Mazzilli is thrown out at third. Madlock will get credit for a single and 2 RBIs.
Well, fortunately, this looks like the only way we're going to be able to get out of this inning because they collected 6 base hits against Steve Trout. Lee Mazzilli, running the bases aggressively, makes a poor choice right here, and he's thrown out easily. Ron Cey applying the tag.
So they come up with 3 runs on 6 hits. Weren't any errors. 1 man was left, and after 4 innings, it's now the Pirates 4, the Cubs nothing.
Now there's a place besides Murph's to get quality 76 gasoline. 76 self-serve marts. But they've got more here than gasoline.
What'll it be, Murph?
Ah, a loaf of bread, a jug of milk, and now besides me, Rosie.
Sweet talker.
At self-serve marts, you can fill up your tank, stock up on groceries, and use your 76 credit card.
Well, Murph, are you going to say those words I'm longing to hear?
I sure am, Rosie. Charge it.
Go with the spirit.
At self-serve marts.
The spirit of 76.
You've invested a lot in the tools of your trade. You want them to pay off. You want to keep them busy. That's why you also invest in the Yellow Pages, where your ad is on the job every day of the year, so other businesses who need you can find you. With all you've put into your business, your ad belongs in the Yellow Pages. It's the small investment that keeps your big investments paying off.
Why do 100,000-mile flyers choose United?
The greatest show on earth plays over 80 cities a year, which means I fly United all the time, because they go just about everywhere we play with lots of convenient flights to choose from.
Like the most wide bodies and the only 767 to Denver.
With United, traveling on business is always a pleasure, even when you're working with a bunch of clowns.
People who fly for a living fly United's friendly skies.
Keith Moreland fouls it off as we go to the 5th inning. Moreland struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. He got a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Candelaria with a 4-0 lead, and he is throwing very, very well. Cubs are going to have to put something together. You don't get the 4 back all at once. A bouncer to short. Berra let the ball play him, but with Moreland running, that's where the infielder knows his base runner.
You also have to know your throwing arm, and Dale Berra laid back on that ball, but has a strong enough arm to make a quick throw and get Moreland by a couple of steps at first.
Wayne Nordhagen flied to right in the 2nd. Batting with nobody on, 1 away. Top of the 5th inning. Fouled off. The Chicago bullpen is busy. Trout threw a lot of pitches in the last inning. No balls, 1 strike. Nordy making Candelaria wait just a bit. A ball and a strike. Brewster, Warren Brewster throwing in the bullpen. Lined foul into the bullpen down the left side. Bounces back out onto the field for Brian Harper, who's hit a home run today. Retrieves it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Two and 2. Candelaria doesn't throw his slider anymore. He just counts on the good fastball. He's got 2 of those. 1 rides and 1 sinks. There's a little looper going to be speared by Johnny Ray. Man, what a play. Had to time it perfectly, and he just took a hit away from Nordhagen.
Well, Pittsburgh has yet to make an error this young season. And watch a very quick Johnny Ray make a base hit look just like an out.
Jody Davis opened to 3rd with a double, and nobody could move him an inch. Fly ball, left field. Brian Harper is there toward left center. 3 up and 3 down. Candelaria has retired the last 9 in a row. Middle of the 5th inning, halfway through this one after 4 1/2. First game of a doubleheader. Pirates 4 runs, 9 hits. The Cubs are scoreless with just 2 hits.
Item 12. You daily game balls, be advised of our double-digit comrades here for the new Lotto lottery game. Lotto? What's a lotto? One plays by selecting 6 numbers on the wager slip for an exceedingly large sum.
Some guy in New York won $5 million.
You see, the Lotto top prize keeps growing until some fortunate individual wins. Okay, let's roll. And, let's be careful out there.
Lotto, it's a whole new ball game.
Inside every Pacific Stereo now, you'll find hundreds of red tags. It's our red tag sale. Save on this Timex home computer, only $49.95. Get red tag savings on this Sanyo personal cassette player, just $69. Look for red tags on Infinity Reference Studio Monitor speakers, $199 each. And watch for red tag savings on this TX stereo cassette deck, now only $99. Look for the red tags for big audio and video savings now at Pacific Stereo.
All right, we're back, and the Pirates will be batting in the bottom of the 5th. Hey, the sun is trying to come out. Maybe we'll get up even with Fairbanks, Alaska, where it's 35 and cloudy right now.
Well, I have to say we have them beat right now. As Arnie Harris brought you that information from Fairbanks. Occasionally he takes a break from his duties down there in the truck.
He'll be pushing Tom Skilling for that weather jab. All right, here is Jason Thompson. He has struck out swinging and gotten a base on balls. It's the only walk that Trout has issued. He has struck out 2, but he's given up 9 hits. And if the Pirates hadn't helped us with some questionable base running in that 4th inning, they might have just simply run away and hidden on us already. As it is, it's 4-0. 1 ball, no strikes to Thompson. Pena's on deck, then it'll be Harper. A high foul out of play over to the left. Say he'll come over and take a token look, but that's up about 12 or 15 rows. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Mazzilli's driven in a run with a sacrifice fly. Harper is homered with nobody on. That's a ball. And Madlock had a 2-run single in the 4th. So it's 4-0 Pirates. Candelaria working on a 2-hit shutout, and we're in the bottom of the 5th. Ball 3, and it's 3-1.
The Pirates have only had 4 at-bats, and only Thompson and Ray are hitless in that lineup. So you know Steve Trout has thrown a lot of pitches.
A bouncer to second. Sandberg dropped it, picks it up. Boy, oh boy, is there a way we could start over? Luckily, it dropped right at his feet and he threw him out. But boy, that's been the rule rather than the exception here today. The infield has not played well behind Trout.
And they've run into a buzzsaw today because John Candelaria is throwing as well as I've ever seen him. And he's just sawing the bats out of the Cubs' hands.
Tony Pena 1 for 2. He got that hit in the 2nd inning. Trout's pitch to him. That one really got away, and it's 1 ball, no strikes. Fortunately, nobody on base. Harper due up next. A let-up. 1-1. He's thrown 3 unofficially in this game, and it's been effective each time he's thrown it. A ball and a strike. Outstanding young catcher, Tony Pena. A high bounce foul down the right side. You want an AstroTurf bounce? You just saw one. That ball must have jumped 30 feet in the air.
One thing that Steve Trout has done today, Milo, is that he's forgotten his changeup when he's gotten in trouble. He's thrown it when nobody's have been on base. When he got in trouble, he went to the hard stuff, and it kept getting him in more trouble.
1-2. Jody dropping the fingers. Too much time. Pena steps out on Trout. Nobody on at the moment. 1 away. Pirates batting in the 5th. They got a run in the 3rd and 3 in the 4th, and they lead 4-0. That ball got away on the swing and miss, and he's going to beat it out because that ball came back to the base of the backstop and just died there.
Jody's had a little trouble today handling most of Steve Trout's pitches, and that ball was not in the dirt. That hit the top of Jody Davis's glove. It's got to be a pass ball because he should have handled that ball.
Should go as a strikeout and a pass ball. Here is Harper at a home run in the 4th inning after striking out swinging in the 2nd. Moves the runner back. Pena runs well for a catcher. You just can't nonchalant him over there. That would be the 2nd pass ball against Jody because remember he had one in the 3rd inning when Candelaria and Lacey moved up. And that led to a sacrifice fly. He's got a big lead. Well, I'm surprised he didn't throw over there that time because Pena was a full yard out onto the carpet.
He had both feet out on the green, and that's unusual for a catcher. You don't see too many catchers run that well, but Pena will steal a base for you. He's become a very good base runner for Chuck Tanner's Pirates.
He's clear out on that carpet again. Now a quick throw over. You can't get a heck of a lot on the throw when you throw it the way you did that time.
It's also a good way to hurt your arm. You're not taking a step toward first. Very difficult on a cold day.
2 balls and no strikes. Harper batting with a runner on and 1 away. Trout has struck out 3, walked 1, given up 9 hits, and he's trailing 4-0.
The last pitch also sent Warren Brewster back out to the bullpen.
Working on the runner at first. Bouncer toward Boa. Flip. Should get 2. Whoa! Pena really went in on Sandberg, and that broke up the double play.
Well, if you want to see how to go in at second base to stop a double play, watch Tony Pena right here. He takes the legs out from under Ryne Sandberg as well as you'll ever see them taken out. Watch out, Ryan.
And look where the throw ends up. About 8 feet up the right field side from first base. Buckner had to leave the bag to go get it. So instead of an inning-ending double play, they're still alive, and Berra, their hot stick in the series, he's now had 4 hits and 6 at-bats. Will get a chance to bat here with a runner on and 2 away. Bottom of the 5th inning. Harper. Going to go right back to his lead. He doesn't get out on the artificial surface. 1 ball, no strikes.
I believe that's one of the big differences in the 2 leagues, Milo. In the National League, they just seem to go into second base a little bit harder every day. It's a little more intense over here.
1 ball, no strikes. A high pop. Buckner drifting back of the coach's box. Now it's going to come back and get him into fair territory. Buckner stayed with it. That wind and the spin on the ball just kept taking it back over the line. Buckner made the play. No runs, no hits, no errors, a pass ball, and 1 man left. We have played 5. Pirates lead the Cubs 4-0.
I'm really a nice, easygoing guy. Like you, I enjoy... You've seen this commercial. People ask, do I really smoke Captain Black? Do I argue with umpires? There's nothing like Captain Black. Smokes cool, doesn't bite, and I'm never asked to leave the room. I have been asked to leave other places. And that's when I really need my Captain Black. Captain Black, never a bite in the bowl.
We go to the 6th inning, and Trout is going to bat for himself. Trailing 4-0. A high bounce. Candelaria's got to wait for it to come down, then get rid of it, and he threw him out. And boy, the temptation there is to try to throw the ball before you get it. Candelaria did it perfectly.
Well, being an old rebounder, you know John Candelaria can go up and get it. And he made a wise play here. He stayed down, waited for the ball to come to him, and threw Steve Trout out. If you're wondering or a little surprised at why Steve Trout batted, the reason is we've played a few ball games and have a few coming up. And he doesn't want to get into his pen too early. We have another game coming up here, and he used the 3 short relievers yesterday, so he's probably concerned about the health of the arms in his bullpen.
All right, Candelaria is now retired 10 in a row. Here is Sandberg, 0 for 2. He's flied to right both times up. In the 1st and again in the 3rd. Fly ball out into left center. Harper running hard, and he's going to be there, and he makes the play. When that ball started out, really looked like it had a chance to get in there. So it's 2 away here. Candelaria is really mowing him down here. He's allowed only 2 hits, and he's in front 4-0. Here is Boa, has one of the 2 hits. It was a single to right field in the 1st inning. The other hit was a leadoff double in the 3rd by Jody Davis. A strike. Candelaria is throwing like it's the 4th of July. He is free and easy. He's got good stuff. He struck out 5. Now they're asking, did Boa go? First base umpire said no, he didn't. And the count is even at a ball and a strike. As here's the 1-1. Fouled off.
You can see those snowflakes pretty well in your picture right there. It's intermittent flakes, I guess they call them here.
No accumulation, however. Fly ball out into center. Mazzilli on. And it's 3 up and 3 down. Candelaria making it look easy. We played into the middle of the 6th. Candelaria and the Pirates are leading Trout and the Cubs 4-0.
You can protect everything but your ego. Because they know how it hurts. And they'll go for it again. Bring out your best Budweiser Light. Bring out your best Budweiser Light.
The best never comes easy. That's why there's nothing else like it.
Yankee Willie Randolph, he does it all. Pro photographer Fred Conrad, he catches it all with his Canon AE1 program. More advanced to capture Willie's sheer grace at second base. More camera to follow Willie all the way home.
Hey, can I try your Canon? Sure, it's simple.
In sun or shade, it's a snap to use. The Canon AE1 program. So advanced, it's simple, and more of both.
Canon, the official camera of the Chicago Cubs.
There it is, beautiful Pittsburgh in the first game of a Sunday doubleheader.
And Santa's not bringing the Cubs any runs because John Candelaria right now is overmatching him. As Chuck Tanner goes out to talk to the home plate umpire Dick Stello, and he's probably asking him, it's a nice day to play, isn't it, Dick?
He's also showing him his lineup card. Now Ed Vargo, the crew chief, came up from third. He's having a little chat with Chuck Tanner.
Best thing that could happen is if they decide to call this second game, because we've got Craig Lefferts going for us, and out of the last 59 doubleheaders under Chuck Tanner the Pirates have played, they've swept 29. And all of you who know baseball out there know how difficult it is to win 2 games in the same day.
Yep, they've played very well under the native of Newcastle, Pennsylvania. And you know he's never left that town. He's gone away and played, he's gone away and managed, but he's always gone back. That's been his home forever. Here's Johnny Ray 0 for 2. Oh, it's snowing hard. It's coming in his booth now. I think there's been one postponement because of snow already today. I think the St. Louis game. This one's got a good chance. Ray showing bunt, but really not going through with it. Now look at that snow, folks.
This is why they've never played a lot of baseball in the Arctic Circle, Milo. It's hard to see the white ball against the background.
There's a fair ball between the bag and save. Down to the bullpen fence. Nordhagen has to wait for it to come to him. And it's a leadoff double for Ray in the bottom of the 6th inning. And now Ed Vargo may be going to stop this game. Vargo's coming over, talking to the ground crew.
I think he's telling him not to put the tarp on. It really doesn't make a great deal of sense to put it on. It's not getting wet.
There's no accumulation and there's no damage to the field. It's not affecting the play as far as the footing. I wonder what they've really decided here. He's going to talk to the ground crew. You're in the 6th inning with a leadoff double, and the Pirates are leading 4-0. Were they to call this thing right now, it's a game, because the Cubs have batted in the 6th inning.
Well, you hate to say the situation ever looks bleak in a ball game that's in the 6th inning, but John Candelaria right now is looking like a contender for the Cy Young Award because he's given the Cubs nothing to speak of the last few innings. And right now with 4-0, you have to say that the Cubs look like they're in trouble, and it'll be a unique situation to see the game snowed out, Milo, especially when the game starts. You don't usually see that.
Well, you know, the way it's snowing now, believe it or not, about 8 o'clock this morning, it was snowing twice this hard.
It's cleared up considerably since
well,
then.
That's right. So why not play? Now, Lee Elia and Chuck Tanner are going to meet with the crew chief, Ed Vargo, and the plate umpire, Stello. The Pirates have out-hit the Cubs 10-2, lead 4-0. The only column the Cubs lead in is in errors. They have 3. Might almost be merciful to call this thing because the Cubs have not played well in this game, and they're not doing anything with Candelaria.
Chicago's had a history of poor performances in the snow, too, haven't they, Milo?
Oh, I'd have to believe it.
The Parrot is out at second base, shaking his head, wondering why play isn't started, but he's probably the only one that would like to play in this. With that big, heavy outfit on, he's probably the only one warm on the field.
He's the warmest guy in the place. You can't tell from any of the gestures by anybody whether this game is called or not.
I don't think it can be called. I believe they're going to give it some time to see what happens, and possibly if the snow stops in just a little bit, we're going to see some more baseball today. Willie Stargell has just stepped into the booth, and there's one of the fine men in the game. He played so many years for these Pittsburgh Pirates and played so well. And I was fortunate to not be in his home run book, but he sure got a few base hits against me.
And what a series he had in '79.
Well, he's the reason I'm wearing this little ring, Milo, instead of that big one that those Pirate people, including you, are wearing.
I tell you, he just took charge and was the guiding influence, not only by the way he played, but the way he kept that ball club together. Parker was the guy who kept him loose by throwing chairs and breaking bats in the clubhouse and doing all kinds of things, and coming in when everybody seemed to be complacent in the clubhouse. He turned that. They've got an audio music machine in their clubhouse that they spent a lot of money for. And when he'd come in and turn that baby up, the place would vibrate. So the club was never lacking for being loose. But Stargell just provided that intangible of being the guiding light. And boy, they played like it.
Well, since 1979, every time I hear that song, We Are Family, it makes me run to the cabinet for an Alka-Seltzer because the series was long to begin with. It was exceptionally cold. We had a postponement. It seemed like the games would never get over, not to mention losing it in the 7th game on that Stargell home run. And great effort by the whole ball club to come back from a 3-1 deficit on that Pirate team. And managerial genius of Chuck Tanner. Never was it so classically illustrated than the way he manipulated that bullpen. He brought in Tekulve just when we were getting to Grant Jackson, just as after we had gotten to Romo, and we never could really pin him down. Just a magnificent effort, and they deserve to win.
You know, a real key in that series, and it goes rather unnoticed because he wasn't really around for the verdict, was the job that Rooker did, who had not started that much in the last 2 months. And he pitched in the game they really had to win on Sunday, and he kept them in the game.
Well, he pitched in Game 5. He was a surprise starter for Chuck Tanner's ball club. And having been over in the National League and seen Jim Rooker throw, I knew that he was the guy who would give us trouble because he kept everybody off balance, threw a lot of slow curveballs, and he was the guy that really kept them in the ball game. They had to have that win, of course. Rooker pitched, I believe, 5 or 6 innings in that game and nailed us down. And
Blyleven pitched a big game then later. Candelaria came back. And Tekulve, you talk about the day and age of the reliever. Boy, he was it in that series.
Well, the one real strong image I have in my mind is Kent Tekulve throwing to Doug DeCinces about 4 or 5 times in key situations. That sidearm breaking ball, and DeCinces couldn't hit him at all. And that and Eddie Murray going, I believe, 1 for 21 for the whole series. We didn't hit it all, and they won the championship in 1979.
And if you haven't been there, there is nothing like a clubhouse, the 7th game of a World Series, when you're in the winner's clubhouse.
Well, I wasn't in the winner's clubhouse, but I can imagine. I remember our celebrations when we won our division and then when we won the playoffs. And in the division playoffs, you got a tremendous feeling of elation because you were going to the World Series. I can imagine what that Pittsburgh Pirate locker room was like. You have the champagne flowing all over, and rightly so. It's terrible champagne, Milo. It best be on the floor.
Yeah, it's better to pour it than drink it. What is it like to play on a day like today? If you'd have been the starting pitcher in one of these games today, can you really get loose? We talked about the fact that both pitchers seem to be throwing pretty well, especially Candelaria. But are you really loose?
Well, you've got about 15 or 20 minutes to get loose before a ball game, so it's not a problem getting loose when the game starts. The problem is every time you come off the mound, when you go back out to the mound, it's so cold you have to re-loosen yourself.
That's why you were so surprised that Candelaria, being on base twice, never got a warm-up jacket on.
Well, that and his history of injuries. He's been hurt a few times, and anytime you get severely hurt, as he was, I mean, his career was in jeopardy. You always try to baby yourself, but there's Candelaria standing out with the snow coming down and the wind howling in from the outfield, and he's wearing no jacket. It was kind of surprising, but obviously it hasn't hurt him, Milo, because not only was he hitting and running the bases, scoring from third base on a short fly ball to Keith Moreland.
Scored 2 of their 4 runs.
But he was throwing the ball as well as I've ever seen him throw it, so maybe he knows more than we do. He's obviously thriving in these conditions.
Well, we just got to wait it out here because it continues to snow very hard, as you can see. And the Pirates do have the 4-0 lead. This is a scheduled doubleheader, and we're just at the mercy of what the umpires are going to decide to do here. It would not be unreasonable to think that maybe eventually they would call this thing, but we just can't outguess them.
Well, after throwing what I estimate to be about 90 pitches, and having the type of rough outing that Steve Trout has had today, I would be very surprised if this delay goes any longer, that Steve Trout will come back out there on the mound. I know Lee Elia would like to protect his bullpen as much as he possibly can because of the eventuality of that second ball game today and the 3 games in Philadelphia. But I'll tell you what, he's got to be very stiff right now, and you don't want to take a chance on putting a guy into a ball game here and losing him for 3 or 4 starts.
All right, now let's just say if the pitching rotation stays the way it is, and I can't read Lee Elia's mind right now whether if we would not play this second game, as to whether he would put Lefferts in the opening game at Philly or stick with Moscow. Either way, you've had a chance to be with Moscow the last couple of days. Tell a little bit about, you related to it briefly the other night about how he had talked to Seaver and made up his mind to stay in the game. And I frankly thought when we left Arizona that maybe he was going to hang it up.
Well, the most difficult thing for any pitcher, be it a major league pitcher or a pitcher who is just going down to the minor leagues, is going up and then coming back down and then going up and coming back down. Paul Moscow has been involved in that 5 different times, Milo, and so you get an outlook about, well, what am I doing here? Well, in spring training last year with Baltimore, he threw the ball very well, much better than Don Stanhouse and much better than Ross Grimsley. And what happened was Earl Weaver knew Grimsley and he knew Stanhouse, so he cut Moscow. Boom, down again. Then he went to Pittsburgh, got a break, and he hurt his arm. Well, this spring he was given a good look, a chance to make the ball club, had a couple of rough outings, went down again. So he decided perhaps that it was time to maybe look for another job, but he's been very close with Tom Seaver over the years. And he had a chance to talk with Tom in spring training, and the first thing Tom said was, how is your arm? Do you feel good? And Paul said, I feel very good, as well as I've felt in years. And Seaver said, look, I'm in the same situation than you. I don't have to prove anything anymore. I knew this spring if my arm felt poorly, I was going to retire, but my arm feels good, so I'm going to stick around and see what I can accomplish. And Paul, go down in the minor leagues. If your arm feels good, you know you can pitch in the major leagues and you'll come back. And that's, Paul, what he decided. He didn't have to go down, Milo. We had a little problem up here. A couple of guys got hurt. Mike Crowley got hurt. And Dickie Knowles had the problem that put him on the disabled list. And so Paul Moscow has another shot at the major leagues. And he wants to come up now and throw the ball very well. He knows he belongs here. He knows when he's been healthy, he's able to win here. It's just a question of getting his feet firmly planted on the ground.
What did he do after we left Arizona? What did he pitch in? Some AAA games a couple of times?
He pitched a couple of AAA games. He threw the ball pretty well.
Not league games, but they hadn't broken camp yet.
Well, they were still in spring training, and I guess there was a choice between John Perlman and Paul Moscow. John, coming up in a rookie situation, they felt needed a little more seasoning down there. They wanted to see him throw the ball every day in AAA and get used to it. They know Paul had been used to the championship season. They felt in the position that the Cubs were in, Paul Moscow was a better man for the job. They brought him back.
All right, now what about his feeling And I know he's glad to be back, so you're glad to be back in the big leagues. But I think when it was initially announced that he was going to pitch in the Saturday afternoon game before we knew about a Friday postponement, because he has never lost to the Pirates, I bet he was anxious to have pitched against them Saturday.
Well, this was the team that he has had the greatest success against in the major leagues. Unfortunately, I don't think Lee Elia knew the record that Paul Moskow had against his ball club, and all he thought in the back of his mind was a hard-hitting Jason Thompson, Lee Mazzilli with a little more power from the left side, and a couple guys, Richie Hebner off the bench, can hurt you from the left side. He felt their stronger hitters were from the left side. Mike Easler, a terrific hitter from the left side. So he felt that Craig Lefferts could throw better against this ball club. And he felt that Moskow, looking at the Mike Schmidts and the Tony Perez's of Philadelphia, would probably be more effective against them.
So either way, no matter what happens the rest of the day, he's probably going to either pitch Monday or Tuesday in that series.
Well, I would say at this point, you want to try to get Fergie a little more rest if you can. You know, he came back on a 3-day rotation where he was pitching on the 4th day, resting for 3. He wasn't quite as effective yesterday as he was in the 2 previous starts. At Fergie's age, with the amount of innings that he has in that arm, he's got to pitch on the 5th day, be it early in the season or what.
Well, if we would get blown out of this second game as far as the weatherman and the cold weather that's coming in here, because the temperature, they say, is really going to drop into the teens here tonight. So you know it's going to start dropping soon, especially with the sun not out anymore. That would not only give Fergie a chance to have that extra day, he'd really get 2, because Thursday's an open date. Then he could open up at home against the Giants on Friday.
Well, I think that'd be a break for the Cubs, because you want to get him some rest. You don't want to keep running him out there with 3 days rest. He's going to be a little less effective for you. And yesterday he had problems earlier in a ball game than he had in the previous 2 starts. So I'd like to see him throw on Friday. The only way that that could happen is to get one of these games today called, or something happen in Philadelphia.
Because this weather's going to follow us right in there.
There's no doubt. This is the worst spring for cold and dampness that I've ever seen. Usually you get some rain in the spring and you have a game called off or so, but you never have days continually in the low 30s, and that's what we've seen everywhere we've gone.
Is Paul Moskow, when he pitches, when he finally gets that start, be it Monday or be it Tuesday, and he feels fine, will he be the same pitcher that we saw as an effective young pitcher at Cincinnati, or has there been a temptation with the problems? The crowd reaction, I can't resist it, Arnie. Look at this. The Parrot went to the Steeler locker room, and look what he found. And the crowd reacting as they should, with a lot of fun from that. But to get back to the point on the Moskow, when you've had trouble, and you mentioned about up and down 5 times, did he seek another pitch? Did he try to enlarge the repertoire? Sometimes a pitcher feels, maybe I've got to do something differently. Go back thinking when he was successful and what we'll see when he starts here Monday or Tuesday.
Well, Paul Moskow as a kid was a big, hard-throwing right-hander who threw a very hard breaking ball and pretty much a power pitcher. That's all he depended on. When he came up with Cincinnati, he used to blow people away, and he hurt his arm, and he really has had no choice but to adjust a little bit. The main thing that he had trouble with was the inability to throw that hard curveball. So he went to a slider and he went to an off-speed pitch, and that fastball dropped down a few miles an hour. But right now the arm feels good. He hasn't been able to throw the curve for 2 years. He's finally throwing it again. And with his experience, I know that he can help this pitching staff. I've always liked the way Paul has thrown. I saw him as a kid. I saw him pitch in the Baltimore spring training last year. He was very impressive then. And only that arm injury for Pittsburgh stopped him from being a valued member of the Pittsburgh staff. So I was happy when we got him in spring training. We certainly gave him a good look. We had all those pitching uncertainties in spring training, Milo, and he just went down there with a good attitude in AAA after talking with Seaver, and he was fortunate to not really get assigned to the AAA ball club, was able to come back here now, and he probably will never have to go down again if he has a few good ball games, because we're searching for somebody to round out that starting rotation here in Chicago, and he's a guy that can do it.
Well, it's just a matter of getting him out to that mound. So we're still awaiting some kind of a decision here. It's all but stopped snowing. So if they would want to come back out now, they could. And there's no damage to the field. In other words, the ground crew is not going to have to do any repair work in any of the bare spots here. It'll just be a matter of coming back out. And as you said, you're just wondering after this delay and the amount of pitches that Trout has thrown, if maybe Lee Elia, when we do go back to action, just might go to a different pitcher altogether.
Well, right now we took a look at Tony Pena in the Pittsburgh dugout, and he looked like he was wearing those gloves that the hockey players wear. He's getting ready, so I think there's been a call to the dugouts to get things together. The snow has stopped pretty much here. The field, of course, never was covered, so you don't have to do anything with it. And this is one of the few times where you'll ever see a game postponed and no ground crew around. Everybody left the field, and the ground crew didn't have to cover anything up. They've got a brand new turf here in Pittsburgh. It's a little softer than the old tartan turf, a little easier on the legs, and you have some guys like Bill Madlock, who's still suffering from a bad knee.
Yeah.
I think the turf is going to help him. And right now, it's going to be a little slick. It does not appear to be very wet, but the snow has come down pretty well. The field's going to be a little slick, and right now, I wouldn't be surprised to see a few players like Madlock, perhaps, take at least one game off. I'd be surprised if he played 2 today. You don't want to take a chance on losing a guy like that, especially when he had a history of some leg problems.
And they've got Jimmy Morrison available in case they would want to make that kind of a move. Morrison, of course, former member of the White Sox, and before that, a member of the Philadelphia Philly organization. After this doubleheader today, we do go into Philadelphia for 3 on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and all 3 of those games will be yours on Channel 9 at 6:30. And if you're out along our network today, be sure to check your local listings to see if you're with us in any of those 3 games. We will be home on Friday to start a homestand against the invasion of the West, the Giants, the Padres, and the Dodgers. And that will start Friday at Wrigley Field.
Milo, we find ourselves 2-7, and I think a lot of the reason for that record, the schedule makers didn't do us any favors this year. We were at home for 2 ball games, and all of a sudden we found ourselves on the road for 12. And early in the season, when you want to get your ball club settled and you want to get your younger players really accustomed to playing in a championship season, the last thing you want to do is go on a 2-week road trip. And then you go on a 2-week road trip and you find the weather in every city colder than the next city. You expected Montreal to be just awful, and it was fair. And Cincinnati was bad, and now Pittsburgh is bad, and our guys just haven't had a chance to really settle down yet. So I'm sure the whole ball club is looking forward to getting back to Wrigley Field, getting with their families, getting in familiar surroundings, and maybe settling down and playing the type of baseball we know the Chicago Cubs are capable of playing.
They just haven't had a chance to really get untracked. For instance, when Fergie pitched the first 2 times, he pitched well enough with some run support. Could have been 2-0 instead of 0-2. Then yesterday he got some runs, and then he couldn't hold it. So the consistency just hasn't come for this club yet. The crowd getting a little anxious here because the snow has died down considerably. Now, it doesn't look like it right there, but you got to remember you're looking through a lot of snowflakes from a distance there, so that looks thicker than it really is. But the Cubs and the Pirates have played into the 6th inning in this game, and so far it has been all Pirates, mostly because of Candelaria handcuffing the Cubs with 2 hits. And on the other hand, the Cubs really opened the door as far as Trout getting into some trouble. Not all of his own doing. 3 errors. There could have been a 4th one just as easy. And instead of giving Trout some support, they just haven't given it to him. And he's probably thrown it's hard to say because you don't know what he would have done with the next hitter. But I would say conservatively maybe 15 extra pitches.
Oh, there's no doubt about it that he was dug into a hole and had a hard time getting out of it. And of course, when a pitcher like Candelaria is throwing that well, you can't afford to give him any runs they haven't earned, and you can't afford to make the mistakes that we have made today. But I think the ball game yesterday, Milo, was an example of how the Cubs have to play to win this year. It was an example of what you can look for when the Cubs will have a win. You bring the team to the short relievers. The game, all of a sudden, a few runs are scored. We scored 6. You turn it over to the bullpen, and the bullpen holds them right there. We came back late in the game, but the key is the 6 runs. We don't have pitchers who can shut out the opposition. We've got to score, and you've got to bring the short man in and give them a chance to win your ball game, and that's exactly what happened yesterday.
Well, wait is what we're only able to do here now, because we're just at the mercy of when these umpires are going to decide to bring these 2 clubs back out here. It's not a matter of rolling out a tarp and wondering if you can play again, and is there too much water on the field, and have you waited the proper time in order to call it or not to call it. The umpires are probably in a bit of dilemma themselves. This is not your routine day as far as bad weather to either call a game or decide to play again. And the bullpens, you can see our bullpen. I've got a feeling once we go out, somebody's going to get ready out there in a hurry. You know, Brewster threw 2 or 3 times already in this ball game, so I think he would be the logical successor to Trout.
Well, as I look out the bullpen, I've been out there many times in a situation just like this, and you sit around and you wait for a phone call. You know the game is going to start again, and I truly believe that it is going to start in the not-too-distant future here, but you don't know who it's going to be. You know your starter has thrown a lot. Perhaps he's getting stiff, and he's sitting in that warm locker room, and the advantage is your starter and the whole ball club is sitting in the warm locker room. But there you see the bullpen is sitting out there. They're all pretty cold. It's a terrible day, and they don't have any rest because the game could start any time, and somebody's going to have to get up to throw. We're taking a look right now at the Cub dugout. You see the gentleman with a huge garbage can.
Because a lot of things have been blown. The wind is really blowing hard here, too. So Arnie has just been in touch with the umpires. They're waiting on an updated forecast that will enter in very much to their decision. Now, the fellow there with the overcoat is Joe O'Toole, a vice president of the Pirates, who is in charge of this field and in charge of such decisions. If this game hadn't started already, it would be pretty much up to him, and I'm sure he was the fellow who made the decision not to play Friday night. So he's out there helping the umpires because they've got a decision to make.
Well, they're going back right now and showing a highlight film of Pirate history, and I think they're digging way back into the archives to find anything they can do to entertain these fans, who, by the way, will not be given a refund. They're in here, they've got their seat cushions, and it's an official game. If the umpires decide that the weather is either 1, too cold, or 2, it's going to be too wet, Pittsburgh will be awarded the victory, and we will make up that ball game that was to be the second half of the doubleheader today, and rookie Craig Lefferts will once again have to wait for his first major league start.
Well, Craig Lefferts is a young man who's anxiously awaiting that, and I think as anybody who's pitched in the minors and this was their goal to get up here, Lefferts will be ready when it happens. Last year, when the Pirates made a run at it in the latter part of the season before the Cubs literally knocked them out of it, those are the highlights they're showing the crowd here, so they're reliving some of the moments of late last summer. They've got the big vision screen here, and I guess as time goes on, we're going to see more and more of these, and it entertains the fans before the game, and such instances we have right now with a delay in the game.
Well, they show This Week in Baseball with Mel Allen narrating it before the game to entertain the fans. And of course, the Diamond Vision is one of the new innovations in the game that changes around the ballpark. This was the first ballpark that I won a game in the major leagues in 1971. I look out here at right field, and I can remember Roberto Clemente playing right field for them. I shut them out 2-0, my first major league win in front of my parents. I had them at the ball game, and I know the Lefferts family in Tucson, Arizona is right now sitting with their tape recorder waiting to tape record their son's first game. And hopefully they'll get a chance to play it as we see Billy Connors, and I believe what he's doing is
he's getting the bullpen ready.
So it's probably going to be Warren Brewster.
And it is.
And it looks like we're going to get this game started. Obviously, Ed Vargo got a favorable report from the weather forecast. It's probably going to be 60 and sunny here in an hour or two, Milo. But at any rate, he's talking to Mr. O'Toole. Everybody's laughing. They're going to decide to start the game again, and I believe Warren Brewster is going to be the pitcher for the Cubs.
I think it's just a matter now of Brewster throwing a few pitches, and then Ed Vargo, the crew chief, is going to say, let's get him out here and get it going again. And the Cubs will have to take the field in the situation they'll find themselves in. Brewster will come in a tough spot. He's going to have a runner behind him at second because Johnny Ray led off the inning with a double. And I'll tell you, Trout really escaped this game being blown out of proportion because some of the hits were really hit hard, some right back through the middle that almost nicked him, and the errors behind him, it just seemed to mushroom, and the Pirates got in front 4-0.
Well, it was the ineptitude of the Pittsburgh Pirate base running. Dale Berra got picked off first base, and Lee Mazzilli got thrown out at third, or we probably would have still been playing that inning. And had we still been playing the inning and this game was postponed, that was the fourth. This wouldn't have been an official game. So once again, maybe the Pirates knew what they were doing. But you know, Milo, one thing we haven't talked about is John Candelaria going to be able to come back again? Here's a man with a history of arm problems. It's been a cold day. He's been out there on the bases. He's run the bases very hard. And here's a guy who, in the top of the 7th, and probably this time at bat, we don't know if Chuck Tanner's going to want to go out with him. I would rather see someone else come in because Candelaria was untouchable. I'd love to get into that bullpen, into the middle relief. That's the one point where the Pirates are not that strong.
And Tanner, all managers have their players' welfare at heart. There's no questioning that. But Tanner is probably more protective of his players, especially his pitchers, than any manager that I know. So the Cubs have come out to warm up here now. It's just a matter of getting Brewster ready. And I think your observation earlier that Trout would not come back if there was any kind of a delay of any duration at all is going to prove out to be, in fact, just the way it'll happen. So Barrett, Boa, and Say is out there as well with Sandberg and Moreland and Nordhagen, Jody Davis. They've got to get loose all over again, because some of them did stay out in the dugout where there just isn't any warmth at all here today. It's cold and it's windy and it's snowy, but it looks like this game will go on, and we are in the 6th inning.
Well, I see Chuck Tanner talking with Ed Vargo quite a bit, and what I think he's probably lobbying for is seeing that second game canceled, because his pitching staff isn't in the greatest shape either. Robinson's got a bad arm, and his starting staff is a little bit shaky. I wouldn't hesitate to think that he was saying, look, you know, you guys are in charge of the game now, but it wouldn't hurt me at all to see you postpone that second game. He'd probably like to give Roden another day's rest.
You saw Lee Elia making the change on his lineup card that he's going to change pitchers. He was doing a lot of other writing over there. I don't know if he's going to make another change or not. Let's see who made the last out. Well, Boa did, but Boa is out warming up. I was thinking perhaps maybe he would move Verizon in to play short, and that way he could bat 9th. But I don't think he is, or Boa wouldn't have been out there warming up if he'd have been told. And here comes Brewster in now, and he will be the new pitcher. So you cannot close the book on Trout yet, because Ray is his responsibility, and he is at second base with nobody out. He worked 5+ innings, 10 hits, 3 strikeouts, walked 1. There were 3 errors and 2 pass balls behind him. There is Rick Roden, the fellow who just crossed his legs. He is the scheduled pitcher for their second game.
Roden is another man who is no stranger to arm injuries. He hurt himself also. And on a day like today, you can't really want to run out there on that hill. This is a day when a lot of pitchers, especially early in the season, come up and they get tendonitis. The way you get tendonitis is you're not quite loose enough, and you extend yourself a little bit, and it inflames one of the tendons, either in the elbow or the front or back of the shoulder. And eventually it causes a problem, a lot of irritation in there, and it winds up, sometimes you can take it through the whole season.
Brewster now is out in the center of the diamond. You see the Pirates have come out to warm up as well. So it's just a matter of Brewster letting the plate umpire Stella know that he is ready, and then this game will be resumed. There's been quite a delay. It snowed very hard for a few minutes. Now it's tapered off to where it's barely noticeable. So other than the weather being very cold here, we will be able to go and play at least the rest of this game. So Buckner will be at first, Sandberg at second, Boa is still the shortstop, Say's at third, Durham trotting out to center, Nordhagen is in left, and the right fielder will be Moreland, and Jody Davis still doing the catching. And Johnny Ray, when Brewster says he's ready, will trot out to second base, and the batter will be, if he's going to continue, Candelaria. If Tanner has made the decision to make a move there, we might see somebody bat for him. As they are leading 4-0, they've out-hit the Cubs 10-2. In the second inning at Minnesota, the Twins are leading the Angels 3-0. In the second inning at Baltimore, the Orioles lead Cleveland 3-1. And in the first inning, Kansas City at Milwaukee, no score as yet. The White Sox have jumped in front of Detroit 4-0, and they've done that in the first inning. Yankees lead Toronto 3-1 in the third. In the second inning, Texas and Boston scoreless. And here it is 4-0 when we get back into action.
I would be surprised to see John Candelaria come out. He's probably the most valuable starter they have on this ball club. You don't want to get him hurt. And we can't read Chuck Tanner's mind, however. We can't see anybody grabbing a bat.
Candelaria's got a bat.
He does have a bat. He is going to come back out.
And before we saw him, the other tip-off was that nobody was throwing in their bullpen. And on a day like this, you'd figured now that we're getting ready to go, if he was going to make that move, he'd give that fellow out there all the time he could, and there's nobody throwing. There's the dugout. And Johnny Ray has still not appeared as a runner at second base. Maybe he's going to stay back in that dugout or down in that runway as long as he can. There he is. He'll be the runner at second. He opened the inning with a double. Now Jody Davis with the runner at second. They've got to start right off the bat on an indicator here with Brewster, because Ray will be looking in and don't want him stealing signs in this spot. So Ray is ready to trot out to second. Jody and Brewster have had their talk, and we're ready for Candelaria to step in. He's reached on an error and scored their first run. He's reached on a single and scored their third run. So he's not only pitching a heck of a game, he's scored half of their runs, going 1 for 2 with his bat. Now you'll see the instance of him being the switch hitter. He always used to bat left-handed. The first time up today against Trout, he batted right-handed. A bunt foul right side. So John Candelaria with Ray at second base and nobody out, and Brewster the new pitcher. Bottom of the sixth inning. Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. Milo Hamilton along with Steve Stone and Harry Carrier with the action. The middle game of a scheduled 3-game series. Look at that, Jody Davis anticipating, called for the pitch out, but Ray wouldn't go for it. Three balls and one strike. Candelaria going to make Brewster wait. Snow whipping around here again. Brewster ready, turns, puts the play on, but they telegraphed it. And Ray was able to make it back in there easily.
Well, Milo, we've started play, and the snow is starting again, and the wind is whipping up one more time.
He deadens it with a bunt. Davis has a play at third, and Ray will be out. Give Jody Davis credit for coming out of there quick as a cat. He knew immediately he had a play. He didn't hesitate one iota.
Just watch the speed of Jody Davis right here. The ball isn't bunted very well. It doesn't go out quite far enough. Ray can't beat this throw to third as Say applies the tag.
So a good quick action by Jody Davis. Cuts down the head man, and Lee Lacy will be the batter with Candelaria at first, and he still isn't putting on a warm-up jacket. That is unbelievable. Well, you'd think at any excuse you'd put one on here today. Lacy has gone 2 for 3, and he's now 2 for 7 in the series with a run batted in. A bouncer to third. That could be around the horn. Double play one. Lacy tough to double up. They don't get it. They get the front man only. 5-4. Going Say to Sandberg, and Lacy beats the rap at first. He really gets down that line. Now before the next batter, Mazzilli, steps in, we'll pause quickly for station identification.
This is WGN Television, Chicago, America's #1 sports station.
Lee Mazzilli is 1 for 2. He's driven in a run with a sacrifice fly. He had a base hit in the fourth. And he's up here now to bat against Brewster. Quick throw over to first, but Lacy makes it back. He's got to keep an eye on Lacy because Lacy is off and running this year. Another throw. Oh, he almost got him. Boy, I think he might have been going that time.
Well, the secret to trying to get a runner like Lee Lacy is to wait until he crosses his legs on the leadoff and throw behind him. That's exactly what happened. He had Lacy fooled, but he was able to slide back under the tag. I'm certain he's going to be going.
He's out to a big lead. Brewster checks him. Pitch out, not going. 1 ball, no strikes to Mazzilli. Madlock would be next. There's 2 away. Lacy's the base runner at first. That's the way it looks from the Cub dugout on the third base side. Moves him back, doesn't get him.
Satch Davidson doing his George Raft imitation at first.
1 ball and no strikes. Making it close and making Lacy dive back. And that's where the wear and tear comes on a base stealer. Now, you know, Brock wouldn't do that. Brock would step back. He had the knack of doing it. Wills always claimed, and it showed the year that he broke the record that was later to be broken twice. Close! Buckner put the good quick tag on him. Wills just pounded his body and took a beating from falling back, and Lacy does the same thing.
Well, Wills was 6 feet when he started his career. He ended up 5'6", Milo, so maybe Brock had the right idea.
Now the crowd getting a little anxious as Brewster continues to work on Lacy.
Well, he's trying to wear him out. This is probably a good philosophy, except I still don't think he's going to stop Lee Lacy from running.
He's going to go right back to that big lead. Mazzilli, the batter, with a 1 ball, no strike count. We're in the bottom of the 6th, 2 away. He's edging. He's going. Jody Davis will never be able to throw him out, even if he hadn't dropped the ball, because Lacy really got a jump on Brewster.
Well, Lacy is 9 for 9, and he's starting out the season just like Henderson did at Oakland, going every opportunity that he's had. Jody Davis dropped the ball, and there was no play.
Stolen base for Lacy.
And the snow is really coming down hard now, as you can see in your picture.
Lee Mazzilli with a 2 ball, no strike count. Lined into left center. It's slicing away from Durham. He knocks it down. The run will score. He's having trouble finding the handle. And Mazzilli's in at second. And it's another run for the Pirates.
And they're calling him in again. Crew Chief Ed Vargo is calling everybody in. The Cubs are down 5-0. I think this might be it. He's not too happy to be out there in the first place. We'll have to see what they decide. I know that we're going to have a little bit of a delay again right here, Milo.
That's 11 hits for the Pirates. And I think the way it was hit, they're going to score it as a double.
Well, the ball slid away on the wet turf from Leon. It was a tough play to make anyway. Mazzilli's got good speed, and you got to figure that that's a double all the way.
In the 5th inning, Atlanta at Philadelphia. No score in that one. And you remember, we go right into Philadelphia from here as Lee Elia. Boy, it's tough to be down there today, and I'm not trying to say that this is a tough way to make a living, but on a day like this, for the ball players, it is.
Well, you know you're having a bad day when you're a gentleman like Steve Trout sitting in probably the shower, taking a shower, and still getting tacked on another run for you. That run charged to Trout, even though the man was retired at third base. The sacrifice attempt that was foiled by Candelaria. Candelaria still was the responsibility of Steve Trout, so he gets credit for that run.
Now the bullpen crew of at least the Pirates, Grant Buck Jackson, who was quite a reliever for a number of years in both the American and National League, pitched for your old club Baltimore for a while. I think he pitched in a World Series for them. He retired. There he is, Buck. Grant Jackson.
That's not the records of his pitchers right there. That's the ball bag. And
yeah, he's the bullpen coach now.
Once they make you a coach, that ball bag becomes a part of your everyday routine. You carry it wherever you go.
An oddity of his career, the 2 World Series that Baltimore and Pittsburgh played against one another in the 70s, he appeared in both and appeared for both teams. 71 for Baltimore, 79 for the Pirates.
Well, he was on the winning side both times. Or would have been. Actually, Pittsburgh won both times, and he got that big ring in 79. As you can see, the Cub dugout, they've got a hot water bottle out there, which is something that I certainly wish they would send up here. There's Paul Moskow looking up at the snow and asking when this is going to end. He has a ball in his hand. He can't wait to start throwing it, but he's not going to get a chance. Hopefully he'll get a chance in Philadelphia.
Well, I would think that Ed Varga was back on the phone to that weatherman who must have told him a while ago that it was going to get better, and all of a sudden it got worse.
He said it was going to clear up, but he didn't say clear up to where, Milo.
And he didn't say what part of Pittsburgh it was going to clear up in. Certainly not at the ballpark. Well, we've talked about World Series because Steve pitched in that one in '79 when it involved these Pirates against Baltimore, and reflecting on one again when we saw Grant Jackson walking from the bullpen just a few minutes ago. So with World Series in mind, Chicago fans, there is
Steve Trout, it looks like, who
he didn't go into a warm shower.
Was not in the warm shower. He's out there still looking around. He's always liked the snow, so he's going to take a chance to see what it's like out here.
Last chance that Chicago fans had to cheer for a World Series team was in 1959. So, Arnie, I think folks might be in a mood on a cold, wintry day to try to go back and think of warmer, more pleasant things. So let's relive some of the memories of the '59 World Series, the White Sox and the Dodgers.
It's World Series time, but what a change of scenery for baseball's greatest drama. Chicago's Comiskey Park, which hasn't had a World Series in 40 years, and then Los Angeles, which never has had a series. It's a great day for White Sox followers whose wonderful loyalty has become a tradition of the game. They set a new club attendance record this year. Al Lopez's solid managing led the White Sox to the pennant. Walt Alston pulled the Dodgers to a playoff with the Braves to win. Joe Cronin, the new president of the American League, and his wife are early arrivals. He's been in these World Series himself as player as well as manager. Early Wynn, who topped the majors with 22 victories, will start for the White Sox. Roger Craig warms up for the Dodgers. The umpires gather at the plate. The color guard takes its position for the beginning of the flag-raising ceremonies. The capacity crowd comes to attention. There go the American League champion White Sox onto the field. Junior Gilliam takes Wynn's first pitch. The 1959 World Series is underway. Then Gilliam grounds out. Aparicio to Kluszewski. With one out in the White Sox first inning, Nelson Fox draws a walk to become the first Chicago base runner. Johnny Roseboro knows about these go-go Sox and tries to keep Nellie close to the bag. Jim Landis singles to right. Fox races to third. And Roger Craig is in trouble. Ed Kluszewski whacks the ball to right field. Charlie Mill just misses. It's a base hit. Fox scores. Landis sprints to third. And the White Sox have the first run of the series. Sherm Lawler lifts a fly ball to right field. Norm Locker for the catch. Landis scores. And the White Sox take a quick 2-0 lead over the Dodgers. With one out on the White Sox third, Nelson Fox doubles down the right field line. It's hit sharply, and Larker can't cut it off. Jim Landis singles to right. A line drive that's just a little too high for Neal, and Fox comes racing home with another White Sox run. That brings Ted Kluszewski to the plate. Kluszewski really whacks one deep to right field. Norm Larker goes away back to the base of the wall, but this one is gone in the lower deck. Home run for Kluszewski. Landis and Big Klue come trotting around. The former National League slugger who came to the White Sox from Pittsburgh in a late August deal gets quite a reception from his new mates. And the Chicago fans acclaim their new power man. Manager Alston decides that's enough for Craig. Chuck Churn called to the mound for the Dodgers. Churn Waller lets a routine fly ball to left center. Snyder moves over after it, but so does Moon, and it may be trouble. Whoops! The ball squirts out of Snyder's glove for an error. Waller reaches second base. Billy Goodman singles to right, and Waller scores. Al Smith slams the ball deep to left. It's a long drive. Moon goes way back, but this one is over his head. Snyder retrieves the ball, but his throw is a bit off the mark. Hodges scrambles for the throw, falls backward, and the ball caroms away. Goodman goes home, while Smith takes third. It's the 5th run of the inning. Rivera slaps a ground ball to Neal. Charlie decides to go to the plate with the throw and should get Smith easily. But watch closely. The ball hits the bat lying in front of the plate and bounces away. Smith, who was ready to backpedal, comes on home. With Rivera on second base, Early Wynn doubles to left. Rivera scores for the 7th run in the inning, and the White Sox lead 9-0. The White Sox fourth, Landis on first. Suzuki belts another one deep to right field and goes all the way upstairs for his 2nd home run. Tremendous wallop of the bat of the muscular first baseman, and Ted comes jogging across the plate behind Landis. The crowd, another deafening ovation. Early Wynn, already named Pitcher of the Year by the Sporting News, seems intent on more honors. He's pitching magnificently. In the 5th, Gilliam becomes strikeout victim number 5. Wynn was removed in the 8th because of arm stiffness, and Jerry Staley pitching the 9th. The Dodgers have Hodges on first, Larker on second.
With Steve Stone, I'm Milo Hamilton, back at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, where we've come through our 2nd snow delay here. And we're going to get going again, and Brewster's out in the middle of that diamond warming it up. Arnie Harris has been in touch again with the crew chief, Ed Vargo. And the question put to Vargo was, what about the 2nd game? And Vargo said no decision has been made as yet, but it sure is cold down here.
Well, the Pittsburgh Pirate bullpen is alive, and someone is working down there. And
that's big Jim Bibby, I think.
With the 2nd rain delay.
No, it isn't.
It's Rick Rhoden, and this is kind of unusual. I would think that if Rick Rhoden is getting up to throw it all at this time, perhaps they've already been given the word about the 2nd ball game. And Rick Rhoden might be going in to pick up the last 3 here. They're going to get him his work today, because I've never seen the starter of a 2nd game throwing in the 6th inning of the 1st game.
Especially with the possibility of yet another delay before we're out of here in this one, because the way that snow has come and gone, you just can't take anything for granted. Now, when we resume, Madlock will be the batter. Mazzilli will be at second. 2 away, a run is in, and the Pirates have upped the ante. They're in front 5-0. Madlock has driven in 2 runs. That was with a base hit in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. He's 2 for 7 in the series with the 2 RBIs. Thompson will be on deck. So Brewster in relief of Trout. He's had to warm up about 4 times today, when you remember the 3 times out in the bullpen, and Roden continues to throw in their bullpen. I just figured automatically, didn't really take the good look that it was Bibby, because Bibby told me before the game that he felt he'd be in the first game sometime today. All right, here we go. Bill Madlock with Mazzilli at second, 2 down, 5-0 Pirates. Brewster, the second Cub pitcher, in relief of Trout. The second snow delay is over, and Brewster is ready. Bouncer toward short, Boa charging. He will never get him because there's no play.
And Bill Madlock legging out 2 balls today. His hands are stinging, but he's got a base hit, so he's pretty happy. Nothing Larry Boa could do with that ball. It was a softly hit ball. Boa wisely elected not to throw it. And runners on first and third with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Pirates are threatening once again.
As Steve was doing that replay for you, I had a chance to turn around and meet an old friend. And you know how those people do when they serve on a job for 40-some years. Dr. Feingold, who was the team doctor here through 4 decades, just came up to say hello. This is Thompson, and a shot up the middle. And another run is in the person of Mazzilli. And that makes it 6-0. Madlock goes into second. Thompson with his first hit today and his first hit in the series.
And that rounds it out. It now gives every Pirate batsman a base hit today. And right now they've got 13 of them.
Tony Pena. 6-0 Pirates. They've had 13 hits. They've taken advantage of some weaknesses in the Cub defense today. The Cubs have made 3 errors. And Pena is 1-for-3, struck out the last time up, but reached first when the ball got by Jody Davis. Madlock second, Thompson first, 2 runs in. It's now a 6-0 ball game. There's a high bouncer on the right side. Buckner going to throw to get the middleman as he goes to Boa. That is a 3-6 force, and the inning is over. 2 runs on 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Weren't any errors in that inning. 2 men are left. And after 6 full innings, it's now the Pirates 6 and the Cubs nothing. The Midas Touch Award is brought to you by your 58 local Midas muffler and brake shops. All right, we're going to take a look at a play that happened back in the 4th inning when Trout had the good move when Berra was leaning. Now they get caught in the rundown, and now watch Berra evade Buckner. Now Buckner's got to find a target. Trout hadn't gotten over, but Jody Davis alertly had gotten down. So give it to Davis, who makes the good throw to Boa, and they get Berra. And for that fine alert play by Davis, the award for this play will be a donation to the Children's Memorial Hospital in Jody Davis's name.
You know you'll get the job done right. We take pride in what we do, 'cause we care about the work we do for you. Trust the Midas Touch. 78 MGB. Trust the Midas Touch. Where nothing but the best is ever gonna do. Trust the Midas Touch.
Buy 3 shock absorbers, get the 4th free. Now through April 30th at your Chicago area Midas shops.
Race to the bottom?
Not all the way.
For Michelob Light?
You're on.
Michelob Light for the winner.
When good friends go at it this hard for a beer, well, it is Michelob Light. A rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
Michelob Light for the winners.
Where'd you ever learn to ski like that anyway?
Houston.
Michelob Light.
Harry Carey and Steve Stone. Here's an indication, Steve, that the second game perhaps is going to be called off because of the cold. Rick Roden, who's scheduled to pitch it, is now relieving for the Pirates, who are leading 6-0. A 2-hitter by the Candyman, over the 6 innings he pitched.
Well, I saw Chuck Tanner talking with Ed Vargo, and I speculated before that I thought he was talking about, hey, why don't we just forget about this second game? And perhaps he knows a little bit more than we do, because Roden is out there, and I don't care how strong Rick Roden is, he'd never pitch the last 3 here and then come on and pitch a 9-inning ball game for the second game.
Well, you want to know what I think about the whole day? If it's too cold to play the second game, it was too cold to play the first game, and somebody better start worrying about the poor fan who pays the bill. Here's Buckner to lead it off. And the first pitch by Roden is a fastball into a strikeout. Cubs have been held to 2 hits. Buckner's 0 for 2 today. Still hitting an even 200 for the year. Swings late and misses. Roden, another good hitting pitcher, by the way. He and Candelaria are among the better hitting pitchers in the National League. Sun trying to peep out from behind the clouds. The snow flurries have stopped. They might return any moment. Ground ball, easy out. Johnny Ray throws out Buckner. Here's Rancé. He's 0 for 2 today. He only hits a single by Bo in the first and a double by Davis in the third. The Cubs will be playing in Philadelphia tomorrow night, 6:30 on Channel 9, Chicago time.
If Craig Lefferts does not get a chance to pitch today, it'll be interesting to see just what manager Lee Elia will do with that rotation. Either let Craig throw tomorrow or Paul Moskow, who were originally slated to pitch here in Pittsburgh.
He had Moskow scheduled to pitch tomorrow night. It's more of a right-hand hitting ball club, isn't it, Philadelphia? Say takes it inside.
Well, the big power man is Schmidt, and of course you've got Von Hayes out of the lineup. So with Tony Perez, they've got some right-hand hitters out there.
Yeah, I would imagine he would go with the right-hander. Ball low and outside. 2 balls and a strike. There's not a good outing for the Cubs today. This is the 4th game of the season. You don't know how much the weather has contributed to that. High fly ball. Easy out. There's Lacy. 2 up, 2 down.
You know, Rick Roden has been accused at various times of doctoring the baseball, and Lee Elia said before the game yesterday he asked Roden to come over his house in the offseason and sand his floors. He said so he does such a nice job on the ball.
You know, he's accused of stuffing the ball on the belt buckle until they found out that the Pirates don't have a belt on their uniform. So now they've come to the conclusion. Here's Durham. A high pop fly left field coming on. Left fielder Brian Harper makes the count. 1, 2, 3, nothing across. And we go into the bottom of the 7th. Pittsburgh 6, Cubs nothing.
This is the taste. This is the test. Pepsi versus Coke. The Pepsi Challenge. Pepsi. And all across America, more people pick Pepsi. Time after time after time.
Pepsi Cola.
Oh, what a time. It's gonna be Pepsi now. The winning taste is Pepsi. It's gonna be Pepsi now. Taste what Pepsi's giving. It's gonna be Pepsi now.
Carey and Steve Stone as we go into the bottom of the 7th. Brian Harper, who's 1 out of 2 today, will be leading it off. We haven't had official word, but every indication is that the second game is going to be called off because of the cold weather. The snow has stopped. Coming up here in the 7th will be Harper, Berra, and Ray.
Harper has sure shown us he can play some both left field and hit the ball with authority. He got them on the board initially with a long home run to left center field. That might work out to be a pretty good trade after all, because they gave away a quality player in Tim Foley, but they got back Brian Harper.
Again, just in case he may not have been listening earlier, want to wish a happy birthday to Tony Garofalo's dad, celebrating number 62 down in St. Louis today.
You familiar with that city? You familiar with St. Louis, Harry?
I know a little bit about it. Unusual to have it snowing there in April. Excuse me. Bottom of the 7th, 6-0 Pirates. Brewster touched for 3 hits and 1 run in the 6th. The other run was charged to Trout. Breaking ball, and he swung and he missed.
Pretty good off-speed pitch, and that's what Trout set him up with, but went away from the off-speed pitch and tried to sneak a fastball by him on the home run.
On the 3-1 count. Fastball inside. 2 balls and a strike. Fly ball, center field. Durham is there. 1 away. So the 3-game series here in Pittsburgh apparently is going to be reduced to 2, which means that the Cubs will have to make up this game on a subsequent trip here to Pittsburgh. Here's Barrett, 2 out of 3 today, 2 out of 4 yesterday. This young man has become a fine ball player in his own right. Strike call. The genes are right. His dad's a Hall of Famer, Yogi. That evens a count, of ball and a strike.
Somewhere along the line, you quit being Yogi's son and start being Dale Berra, and I think with his bat emerging and the shortstop play, that's in the not-too-distant future.
Chuck Tanner's very high on him. Into the dirt. 2 balls and a strike. Berra hitting .290 with 2 homers. Has good power, great hands, fine arm, better than average speed. That evens a count of 2-2.
Fortunately, Dale got his mother's looks.
You know, let me tell you something about his father. He's dumb like a fox. You don't believe all those. Here's a ground ball hit to Say. Throws him out. One day I was playing gin with Yogi, and I'm keeping score, and he's on the other side of the table, naturally. And he says, what have I got in that first game? I said, 103 points. We played 200. Now, he's looking at the numbers backwards. He said, shouldn't that be 117? And I added it up. By gosh, he was right. Photographic memory. He could remember numbers. There's a hot smash. Knocked down by Sandberg. Recovers and throws him out. So Ray is thrown out by Sandberg. 1-2-3, nothing across. At the end of 7, Pirates lead 6-0.
What'll it be today, Merrow? It's full serve or self-serve?
Well, Jill, my stand on the issue is quite clear.
Issue?
Well, historically, I have chosen full serve and delegated problem areas to experts like yourself.
Full serve is good choice.
However, saving a few pennies at self-serve is a policy I support. Fiscal restraint, Jill.
Ah, self-serve.
Yes, and I can generate a cash flow economy.
And pump your own.
And on the other hand,
get full serve or self-serve.
2 very solid positions.
The people's choice. At Union 76.
In the world of electronics, there are no boundaries. Case in point, Advanced Space Phone, part of the new generation of System 3 television from Zenith. It turns your TV into a telephone. You can take or make phone calls right through your Zenith.
Hello?
And with the built-in speakerphone, the whole family can say happy birthday to Grandma. Advanced Space Phone, part of the new generation from Zenith, where the quality goes in before the name goes on.
Time for a tune-up.
Tune-up?
Want to make sure we aren't burning up money by checking points, plugs, oil.
Insurance?
Insurance.
Insurance?
Allstate update. Auto insurance tune-up.
Allstate can help you make sure you're getting your money's worth. Just drop off your policy at Sears or any Allstate office. We'll check it out. Coverage limits, price, deductibles. Then you decide.
You might drive out with a better value.
Now that's a tune-up.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Harry Carey and Steve Stone, we go into the 8th. Here's Moreland. 0 for 2 facing Rick Rhoden for the first time. Rhoden was scheduled to pitch the second game, and the fact that he's being used in relief would indicate to us there's a pitch drilled, home run length but foul. Would indicate to us that they've already been informed that the second game is going to be called off because of cold weather. Slice foul on the other line. He's in the hole. Strike 2.
Well, so far, there's not much to choose from between Candelaria and Rhoden. He's throwing awfully hard also, Harry. These two guys look like they're both over their arm miseries. They're throwing as well as they have at any time in their careers.
Pirates are going to be one of the teams that contend with, as they always are. Low and outside. 2 strikes in the ball. Ron Kittle of the White Sox has hit another home run in the first inning with 2 on. There's a ground ball, right field, base hit. Moreland did that beautifully. The pitchers of the outside part of the plate, behind on the count, he went right with them and grounded a single to right.
Keith Moreland has really been one of the few continuing bright spots this year for the Cubs. He's really had a good early part of the season.
Well, let's hope he can do it all year long. He started out that way last year and then fell into a prolonged slump after a good beginning. Then he wound up finishing rather well. So maybe installed at one position without the mental strain of wondering where you're going to play tomorrow. Maybe he'll have some stability at the plate more than he had last year. There's a ground ball. Madlock over to second to 1, over to first. Double play. Nordhagen bounced into a double play. 5-4-3.
Now watch the play at second base. This is kind of a repayment from Pena going into Sandberg. Watch the throw and watch Moreland trying to take out Ray.
He hits him right below the knees.
Can't stop the double play, however.
There's Jody Davis. We're going to have a pinch hitter here for Jody Davis. Scott Thompson. Thompson, the batter, hitting .294. No homers, 5 RBIs. Steve Lake is going to finish the game behind the plate. He was scheduled to catch the second game today. And Craig Lefferts was slated to pitch. Jay Johnstone waiting on deck. Ground ball to the shortstop. Barrett charges it, throws. Pulls him off the bag, but Jason Thompson made the tag. So it's no runs, 1 hit. No errors and nobody left. Rhoden breezes through the 8th, and we go into the bottom of the 8th. The Pirates leading 6-0.
Why do 100,000-mile flyers choose United?
You know, in this town, I never have a problem getting the best seat in the house, particularly when it's my show.
Well, when I travel, I'm like anyone else, but I can still get the seat I want.
Anyone can, by reserving it in advance on United.
Seat 6B, Mr. Pat?
Reserve your seat when you reserve your flight. United will hold it up to 15 minutes before takeoff.
Row 6 on the aisle. Bravo, United.
People who fly for a living fly United's friendly skies.
Why are more and more new truck buyers selecting Toyota? Value.
Right. Your Toyota dealer's got the sport truck with diesel engine efficiency. A truck with 3 across seating that has the biggest standard engine in its class and a 1,400-pound payload. Right now, he's got truck incentives from Toyota that could give you even more truck for your buck.
Somebody did it right. Value. Your Toyota dealers got it right.
Sport Mart. Fishermen catch more fish with Lazy Ike fishing lure. Features natural minnow action. Don't fish without Lazy Ike. For sports, it's Sport Mart.
Harry Carey back in Pittsburgh. We go into the bottom of the 8th, and Craig Lefferts is going to be the new pitcher, Steve. No, wait a minute. Take that back. We still have Brewster there. I thought I seen Lefferts come in out of the bullpen. I thought he was going to take over.
Maybe he's coming in just to get warm, Harry, but Steve Lake does get a chance to make his major league debut as we look at Scott Thompson out there trying to get himself loose, and there is Steve Lake. He's got to be pretty excited, Harry. He spent 8 years in the minor leagues. Just when it looked like he'd never get there, he got a trade from Milwaukee here and gets a chance to catch in the big leagues.
All right, here is Rick Rhoden, the pitcher, a good hitter. And Brewster's pitch swung on and missed. Total 6-13-0 for the Pirates, 0-3-3 for the Cubs. Rick Rhoden. Pitch a little bit low, that evens the count. A ball and a strike. Head of him now, 2 strikes and a ball to count. We'll greet you from Philadelphia on Channel 9 at 6:30 Chicago time tomorrow night. Count is even, 2-2. Brewster in his 3rd inning of relief. He's been charged with 1 run on 3 hits. A little tap to Sandberg. Easy out. 1 gone. Lake behind the plate. Lake's been to bat twice and hit the ball hard both times. Once for a hit. The other time a smash that he was thrown out on. There's a pitch foul out of play. Lee Lacy swiped his 9th stolen base of the young season. He's 9 for 9 in stolen bases this year. He's 2 out of 4 at the plate. A ball and a strike. There's a line drive to right. Base hit going to the wall. Look at that Lacy run. Pulls up at second base with a double. Ball hit beautifully.
Well, this one looked like it had 3 bases written all over it, but Keith Moreland makes a pretty good play. The ball slicing away from him, and Moreland is able to hold him to a double.
Here's Mazzilli now, switch hitter. Mazzilli drove it around with a sacrifice fly in the 3rd. He's had 2 out of 3 with 2 runs batted in. Mazzilli has been around for a good ball player, relatively very young. He still has modeled a few uniforms already. Here goes Lacy trying to steal, and he makes it. 10 out of 10. Lacey steals third.
Well, Warren Brewster just completely forgot about Lee Lacey. He thought 6 runs up. Well, I'll concentrate on the hitter. Big mistake with a Chuck Tanner ball club. Third base is easier to steal than second because you can get a bigger jump. That's exactly what Lacey did.
So the infield now is forced to come in. There's a pitch a little bit low. Mazzilli, only 28 years old. Been in the big league since 1976. That's 6 years with the Mets. There's a drive in the right field, right at Moreland. He makes the catch. Lacey trying to score the throw. Whoa! He bowls over Lake. He had not touched the plate, but he knocked Lake down, and now he says something to him. He knocked the ball right out of Lake's glove, and I think he would have been out at the plate.
A great throw by Keith Moreland. And how about that welcome to the big leagues for Steve Lake? This throw, it looks like, gets to home plate on time. Unfortunately, it got there just about the same time as Lee Lacey exploded into Steve Lake and jarred the ball loose. And Lee Lacey scores the 7th Pirate run of the day.
Moreland, a great throw. Had he made that kind of a throw earlier, Candelaria would have been out at the plate, and it would have delayed their scoring the first run of the ball game.
Moreland can obviously throw better without a hat. Watch this one.
Yeah, just like a catcher going for a foul ball. Madlock, who's 2 out of 4 today. It's 7-0 in favor of the Pirates. I'd like to see that play again with Lacey bowling over Steve Lake.
The Lake family requested that we don't see that one, Harry, because he took a shot at home plate.
Here's the pitch. Started to swing, held up. Lacey didn't touch home plate. And when the ball, after he bowled Lake over, he went back to the plate and touched it. Madlock, another base hit, his 3rd of the day. And the Pirates are jumping all over Warren Brewster.
Well, I don't think you'll see a better high fastball hitter in all of the major leagues than Bill Madlock. Every time you throw one up there, he deposits it into the outfield safely.
They have pounded out 15 hits. They have proven that they're a good cold weather ball club. Jason Thompson is the batter. Hitting .281 with 2 homers, 8 runs driven in. Brewster not fooling anybody. There's a ground ball to Boa. He's got it. Steps on the bag for the force out. So a run scores. 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 8, 7-0 Pittsburgh.
How about Michelob Light for the winners? Sure, but we get mighty thirsty. Michelob Light for the winners.
But a bunch of guys really go at it this hard just for a beer? Well, it is Michelob Light, and that means a rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
Those guys could have beaten the Russians today. You think they'd play us for a Michelob Light? Michelob Light!
Uh-oh. Oh, whoop! Thanks, son.
I'll get it, Dad.
Gee, Murph, your son sure's got a lot of spirit.
Really? I hadn't noticed. Good night, Nick.
The spirit of 76.
Burger King presents broiling versus frying.
I can't figure McDonald's out. Everybody
everybody knows flame broiling beat frying nearly 3 to 1. It was on TV. But McDonald's is frying their hamburgers. Unbelievable. Well, I like them flame broiled. So, what are you going to do? I don't go to Burger King. Aren't you hungry for Burger King now?
Harry Carey back in Pittsburgh. Jay Johnstone's going to be the new hitter here. He's going to bat for Brewster.
They have a special 2-for-1 seating here today in Pittsburgh. You see fans taking advantage of it.
The pitch. Breaking ball low. Jay Johnstone looking for his first hit of the spring. He's 0 for 8. Make it 0 for 9. Fly ball to Mazzilli. 1 out. Here's Sandberg. We're in the 9th. Skies have cleared somewhat. Still very cold, getting colder. And every indication is the second game is going to be called because of cold weather. There's no official word. Sandberg's hitless today. His jam hits a ground ball to Barrow over to first in time. 2 up, 2 down. And Roden is just as outstanding as was Candelaria. Candelaria worked the first 6. And will get the victory.
I don't know, Harry. Swinging at the first pitch, the first 2 hitters, 7 runs down in the 9th, doesn't show me that these guys have much intensity here today.
They're just trying to get it over with.
Larry Bowa stepped out expecting the umpire Dick Stello to call time. He didn't call time, and Dick Stello called strike 1. So they're going to argue about it, but you have to have time called by the umpire before you step out. It's not automatic. Lee Elia does not have a complaint right here.
And that's exactly what Dick Stello is explaining to him.
Larry called time, but he was never given time. Roden throws a fastball right down the middle. Stello calls strike 1.
The discussion goes on. I guess Larry is mad because he wanted to swing at the first pitch. He didn't get a chance to. All right, 1 strike and nothing, 2 out. It's been that kind of a day for the Cubs. He bunts on the next pitch, and he's going to beat it out if it stays fair. Rolls foul. And Bowa's in the hole 0-2. 2 out, nobody on. Roden has faced only 9. This will be the 9th man. 1 base runner. Moreland was erased in a double play. So the Pirates have had it all today. Shutout pitching from Candelaria and Roden. And an attack of 15 hits. Fouls it out of play. Larry Bowa at the plate with 2 out. 7-0 Pittsburgh. There's a ground ball. Ray to his right has it. Throws to first. In time, the game is over. So, for the second time this young season, the Cubs have been shut out. The final 7-0. We'll be back with the totals in a moment.
I'm Paul Williams, composer and Grand Prix driver. This is the 1983 Celica GTS. Some good-looking car, huh? And excuse the expression, it isn't short on performance. Watch this.
That's Paul. That's the Celica. And for 83, the Celica GTS has a new independent rear suspension, electronic fuel injection, and even more horsepower.
You know, when I drive a Toyota Celica, I'm 6'2", Dan Gurney.
Sure you are.
If you're loaded down with yard work, let True Value hardware stores help lighten the load with this easy-to-maneuver homeowner's wheelbarrow. For bigger jobs, get True Value's heavy-duty wheelbarrow with a seamless steel tray. Or choose the large capacity lawn cart with a tough steel frame. And you can load up to 300 pounds on this True Value hand truck. Available at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
How do you like your shrimp?
Red Lobster knows how you like your shrimp.
Boiled, breaded, broiled, fried.
Oriental shrimp with sweet and sour sauce on the side.
Baked, chilled, stuffed, iced.
Our delicious shrimp cocktails sure look nice.
We know how you like your shrimp. Red Lobster for the seafood.
And shrimp.
Lover in you.
Healthful Nancy Martin milk is specially priced at Dominick's. Save on Nancy Martin 2% milk in a 1-gallon plastic bottle, only $1.29 at Dominick's.
Well, as you see, there's a discussion around home plate. Lee Elia, there, he's just calling it off. The second game has been called off because of cold weather. Well, Steve, there's not much to say about this game. The Pirates had it all. They had shutout pitching, a 15-hit attack. They scored 7 runs. For the 10th time this year, they played airless ball. They haven't made an error all year long. That's perfection. It's a little uncommon at this early stage of the season.
Well, errors are what hurt us today, Harry. It dug Steve Trout into a hole early with the 3 errors. We got behind, and against the pitching of Candelaria and Roden, there was just no coming back.
I might mention that we're going to have Willie Stargell on the 10th inning show coming up in just a moment, so don't go away yet. The final score here, the total, 7-15-0 for Pittsburgh. Candelaria the winner, 2-0. Roden gets the save. No runs, 3 hits, 3 errors for the Chicago Cubs. Steve Trout, the loser, he now has won 1 and lost 2. This is Harry Carey with Steve Stone. Stay with us for an interview with Willie Stargell. We'll see you later. So long, everybody.